rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the result. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was taught with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's your number one Chief Rockin' Knicks Universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy, and welcome to the premiere Knicks in the Nighttime show, the Knicks at Night podcast. Salute to everybody watching us on X. Salute to everybody watching us on YouTube. Just going to ask you to like, subscribe, follow, share, and everything in between. We have a busy show tonight. Want to talk about Knicks head coaching candidates, answer some of the questions that you guys might have. Want to ask you to comment, be active. There are a few things that I'd like to speak to, and I guess you can see so by what I have listed on the thumbnail. Right. So, yeah. East Blue Drew is in the building. Salute. Danny Landis is in the building. Salute. HRM is in the building. Salute. Want to first start, though, by saying, even though I think the Knicks are on the verge of making a lot of wholesale changes, I think the Knicks are in a great place organizationally. Right? But before I get too far into that, I just want to point out a few things. Jalen Brunson in his 1 year playing for Jason Kidd averaged 16.5 points a game. Where's the number at? I'm just going to see if I can find the number for Jalen Brunson. Averaged 16.3 points per game, 4.8 assists per game, and helped the Dallas Mavericks reach the Western Conference Finals. And so that is 2 Western Conference Finals for the Dallas Mavericks under Jason Kidd. My question is Jason Kidd a good coach? Clearly, Jason Kidd is a good coach. He got the Dallas Mavericks to 2 Western Conference Finals with very flawed rosters. How good of a coach is Jason Kidd with a great roster? We don't know. We haven't seen it yet. But as I sift through the rumor mill, right? I can't help but believe that Dallas, Texas is ground zero for conspiracies. Anyone disagree? Dallas, Texas, right now is ground zero for every conspiracy that you could possibly think of. Right? The coaching conspiracy, Jason Kidd, the New York Knicks and Dallas Mavericks would have to work out a deal for Jason Kidd. Right? Mind you, these were two organizations. As a matter of fact, the Knicks don't have a second round pick this year because they lost the tampering case with Dallas over Jalen Brunson. So every conspiracy you can think of, weird owner relocation, weird trade your star for nothing, weird how did they get the number one pick? Now the coach is in rumors to have his contract assumed by a team that you hate. What's going on out here? What's going on out here in these streets, right? I'm not one for much conspiracy theory. Like, I like my conspiracy theory to be old, say something from the 60s and 50s, maybe something from the 70s. But Jason Kidd to the Knicks. I'm going to shout out a person that didn't say this, but there were some points that he made that made me think this. So shout out to Todd Barbie, right? One of the Lawrence Tears contributors. You don't see him on screen. He don't want to be on screen, and I don't blame him. But he said something. Generally, I don't speak to conversations and such, right? But he said, Uncle Freezy, Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson loved Tibbs. He would never have gotten Tom Thibodeau fired. That's basically his godson. In my mind, I'm thinking, and this is merely conspiracy, right? And I'm going to say allegedly a bunch of times or whatever, just to clear my name legally or whatever. Allegedly. Allegedly, there was a rift between Tom Thibodeau and the players. Allegedly, the players had a bunch of players-only meetings. Allegedly. I wasn't there. I can't say for winning certainty. But 3 days after the Knicks lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, Tom Thibodeau was gone. Three days after the Eastern Conference Finals series loss, Tom Thibodeau was gone. And in my mind, I'm thinking the players made up in their mind that Tom Thibodeau had to go. So by the time you heard Tom Thibodeau was fired, if you go back, if you follow how these things actually work, it's announced on a Tuesday. That means they let Tibbs know on a Monday. That means leadership agreed on a Sunday to explore the option. That means Saturday, there were people fed up. So if people were fed up Saturday, leadership was made aware Sunday. Leadership discussed this thing with ownership on Monday. Tom Thibodeau is fired on Monday. You are alerted on Tuesday. That means the players. Yeah, that means the players just didn't want this guy. Enter Jason Kidd. The guy that elevated Jalen Brunson not only into a great NBA player, he gave Jalen Brunson a taste of leadership. Jalen Brunson and Jason Kidd got a taste of accomplishment. Jason Tatum empowered Jalen Brunson to be a great player and to get his money. So either Jalen Brunson, allegedly, allegedly, either Jalen Brunson ordered the code red, or he said he was apathetic to Tibbs and said, man, I don't care what y'all do. And then after seeing Tibbs let go, they asked JB, who would you like to play for? He said Jason Kidd. Now, with that said, Jason Kidd is the head coach of a team that has been doing very shaky transactions. The Dallas Mavericks traded one of the best players on the roster in a shocking move that got them a small haul, right? The shocking move that the Dallas Mavericks pulled off was trading Quentin Grimes to Philadelphia for the twin, Caleb Martin, whatever his name is. In a shocking trade, the Dallas Mavericks trade Quentin Grimes to the Sixers for Cody Martin. Oh, yeah, and they also traded Luka Doncic to their hated rival LA Lakers. The Dallas Mavericks traded the franchise's greatest player to the team they hate the most. If you can imagine if the Knicks right now trade Jalen Brunson to Boston and get pieces in return, right? They get the point guard off the bench and the wing player off the bench or whatever. Now, listen, man, Anthony Davis is a heck of a player, but he's a big man with an injury history on the wrong side of 30. Y'all see where I'm going with this? the Mavericks legitimately somehow traded away the greatest player in franchise history for good players, not great. Not at this point. Anthony Davis has diminished value. But if you're the Knicks and Jalen Brunson told you either fire Tibbs or y'all fired my man, y'all better go get my other man. Either way, Jalen Brunson is calling a shot. This is a Jalen Brunson flex, allegedly. Allegedly. I don't know for sure. I don't have all the details. I'm doing what they call reading the tea leaves. If you're Dallas, though, if the shoe is on Dallas, if you're looking at it from a Dallas Mavericks perspective, do you want to pay a championship level coach's salary for a team that's going to be tanking? No, hey Torby, no, this is all speculation. I did a preamble for this. I did a disclaimer for this at the very beginning that no one has all the details. So if Jalen Brunson didn't get Tibbs fired, which I don't think he did, I don't. But if Jalen Brunson flexed like, hey, you fired my man, you better go get my other man, that puts both organizations in a spot. Because these two front offices don't like each other. Remember, this is the organization that Worldwide West and Julius Randle flexed at their playoff game. Anybody remember the Julius Randle and Worldwide West flex the year Jalen Brunson was signed in free agency? Anybody remember that? Julius Randle, an NBA player, Worldwide West, an NBA exec are on the floor at the beginning of a playoff game between the Utah Jazz and Dallas Mavericks. The Utah organization is looking like, what are they doing around our players? The Dallas organization is like, what are they doing around our players? The Dallas Mavericks Mark Cuban launched the investigation that got a second round pick taken away from the Knicks, saying the Knicks tampered with Jalen Brunson. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But it leaves a sour taste in your mouth that you would arbitrate. Two teams would arbitrate with the league office to find out if this thing is true. Was the second round pick worth it? Absolutely. Dallas drafted Jalen Brunson with a second round pick. He was absolutely worth it for them. And the Knicks gave up a second round pick to get Jalen Brunson. Of course, it was worth it for the Knicks. But now these two teams, in order for the Knicks to get Jalen Brunson, in order for the Knicks to get Jason Kidd, the Knicks are going to have to pay. And what are they going to have to pay? What's the price? Chat. What would you offer Dallas for Jason Kidd? to assume his contract. I'm going to see if I can find it. Wow. So ChatGPT tells me that while the exact figures of the recent multi-year contract extension signed May 2024 have not been publicly disclosed, reports indicate the total value of the deal exceeds $100 million. This positions Kidd among the highest paid coaches in the NBA. Yeah. So Jason Kidd is one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA, right? And you'd have to pay the Dallas Mavericks something in order to acquire him from the Mavericks. What would that something be? Clearly, the first thing you would say is it's got to be draft picks, right? Clearly, the first thing, the first thing that comes to our mind is draft picks, right? What if I told you that Dallas would probably be more interested in getting bad contracts off their books? I wish I knew. Where are the analytics guys when you need them? Where are the analytics guys when you need them? Hey, Derek Frank says, hey, thank you for the generous contribution. Derek Frank says Brunson, Jackson, Cassell. Okay. Okay. If the Knicks are indeed interested in Jason Kidd, if the Knicks are interested in Jason Kidd, hey Nick, yeah, thank you for that too. This is a great point. I was gonna get to this also, right? But here's the thing: if the Knicks are indeed interested in Jason Kidd, what are they willing to pay? But if it takes three to tango in this situation, right? If it takes three to tango, if it takes the Mavericks, Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks, or the Knicks, Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks to all agree that New York is the best place for him, what would Dallas ask for in exchange? I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound peculiar, right? I'm going to say this is going to sound crazy. I think they want to get rid of the veterans on their roster. I so think that their rebuild is going to be centered around Cooper Flagg and Derek Lively, that I think Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis will be gone. I think Clay is gone. Right? If you're going to tank, it can't be a soft tank. Right? Where they are in 3 years, in 2 or 3 years, in 2 years, Cooper Flagg will be better than Anthony Davis. In 3 years, Cooper Flagg will be better than Kyrie Irving. Just because of the natural progression of things, that you would expect the number 1 pick with all that talent to blossom into something, and then you would think that Father Time would catch up with the other players. Not that they're bad players. Rail is in the building. Salute. But the mere fact that Jason Kidd appeared in New York City, in the New York tri-state area back pages, means where there's smoke, there's fire. Because the obvious candidates are the recycle ones. Mike Malone, Budenholzer, Brett Brown, all the recycle coaches. You know the recycle coach. You know how Mike Brown. You know how this thing. Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, Rajon Rondo. What's the guy from Atlanta? The guys, all the guys from Atlanta that got fired. Mike Woodson, all those names should be circulating, right? Taylor Jenkins is young, but Miguel P, I got you. I get it. I'm with you. But generally, for a New York team or a high-profile team like this, the retread names circle the drain, so to speak. And every now and then there'll be like a hot young coach that may be in the conversation, but may or may not be in strong consideration to get the job. Jay Wright, right? These types of names are names that you would think in a vacant New York Knicks head coaching circle or conversation, you would think these recycle names would come to the top. You know, guys from New York, Brett Brown, Mike Malone, these type of guys, and then your internal candidates like the guy that's coaching Westchester, the Westchester Knicks coach. Why not give him a shot? Right? If it's one of those things. And I'm talking about in the hiring process, in the interview process. I'm not talking about the job, because I know they won't hire a coach that young to coach this team, because this team needs a strong-willed veteran coach. I'm talking about names in the conversation. So, chat, my question to you, and I'm not judging Jalen Brunson in a vindictive way, right? I'm saying, now when I mention this, now keep this in mind going forward. You'll hear this and keep this in mind as we continue the conversation. I think Jalen Brunson is only concerned about what's best for the New York Knicks going forward. So any detail that we add to the conversation, I want y'all to assume that also. We don't want to sully this man's character because this man has never shown us anything that he can be. He's a sideways guy. Jalen Brunson has always been upright, keeping it real every opportunity he gets. So we don't want to sully his name. But if Jalen Brunson is included in the decision-making process, and yes, responsible organizations include their best players in the decision-making progress, in the decision-making process. They do. Smart, responsible organizations include their best players in the decision-making progress, in the decision-making process. Like, hey, Jalen, man, what do you think about this guy? Hey, Jalen, what do you think about this guy? Hey, Jalen, we're thinking about making a change. You have any ideas? Yes. Get me Jason Kidd right now. And chat, I want you to be respectful with Jalen Brunson, right? This is a respectful Jalen Brunson conversation, right? We're not trying to throw this guy under the bus. He's our guy. But do you think Jalen Brunson and others may have been frustrated with Tom Thibodeau's rule of law, which had them come to a conclusion they need someone that's the opposite of Tom Thibodeau to come in to help them win a championship? Is that a reasonable line of thinking? Are you frustrated with the teacher that yells all the time? Now you just need a teacher that can help you manage, right? Right? Maybe you're a 12th grader and your second semester, right? Maybe you're a 12th grader in your second semester. You don't need a 5th grade teacher riding your back all the time. You don't need that. Maybe you don't need that. Maybe you need the opposite. Maybe you need somebody that can help manage personalities. So if I'm Worldwide West or Leon Rose or whoever is the head honcho in the final decision-making process before Leon Rose, whoever is the person a step below Leon Rose, and you get a poll of the organization and you go to Leon Rose and you're like, hey man, we need to make a change. JB's not happy. Cat's not happy. McCall is not happy. Well, what can we do to make them happy? We can change the voice. All right, well, what type of voice do they want? This guy is our guy. Tom, this is Tibbs' dream job. So if Jalen Brunson ordered the code red, allegedly, and Jason Kidd is the replacement, allegedly, how does the Knicks, the Mavericks, and Jason Kidd all agree to compensation that will get the Knicks Jason Kidd? So I have two things, right? The first thing is what Nick Yak asked. Why would Jason Kidd do it? What's Jason Kidd's motivation in this? Well, the thing about that, I'm glad you asked that, Nick Yak, because honestly, man, I don't know what his motivation is. And I don't say that to skip the question. I say that because I legitimately don't know. right? What's more intriguing to Jason Kidd? Coaching a kid that is going to be the combination of Luka and Jason Tatum? That's what Cooper Flag is going to be. Cooper Flag is Luka and Jason Tatum mixed together. Does that mean he's the GOAT? No. That means that's probably his archetype. That means that's his archetype. That's all that means. That doesn't mean he's going to be the greatest player ever. That just means this kid is going to be really, really good. Or do you go to a team with a player that you like, who's this close to winning a championship, and help that team win a championship? Right? You can throw out on all the side stories like, oh, Jason Kidd played for the Knicks. Hey, man, he was drafted by the Mavericks. Oh, Jason Kidd found success in Dallas. Hey, man, he started his coaching career in Brooklyn. He retired from the Knicks on a Monday and was coaching the Brooklyn Nets on a Tuesday. He retired from the Knicks and went straight into the Brooklyn Nets head coaching job. Fastest transition ever. Also, though, one of the things that Jason Kidd does, if you're a Knicks fan, if you believe in such things, if you believe in things you can't understand, if you're very superstitious, right? If you believe in things, side things, Jason Kidd will develop you a megastar. If you believe in such things, if you give Jason Kidd time, even a little bit, he will develop a megastar. We don't even have to go down this road of who Jason Kidd took on as a young player and what that player was after Jason Kidd left. We don't even have to get into that. That story wrote itself. If you give Jason Kidd a talented young player, what he turns that player into, we ain't even got to get into that. That story writes itself. Here's Uncle Freezy's thoughts on it. Right? All of that. I just wanted to speak to all of that. Now, here is my thoughts on it. I don't like Jason Kidd, and I never have. I don't like Jason Kidd. Everywhere Jason Kidd goes, drama follows. When Jason Kidd doesn't get his way, the bottom falls out. If y'all remember Jason's Kidd year with the Knicks, Jason Kidd was not a starter level player. Jason Kidd wasn't even a rotation level player. Jason Kidd was a 10th man type player that started for the Knicks. If y'all remember this thing, you remember when Jason Kidd's year with the Knicks, right? Jason Kidd's year with the Knicks, right? Y'all remember when y'all remember they cut Jason Kidd's minutes? And Jason Kidd got in front of the podium and was like, it's not about how you start the game, it's about how you finish. I'm a finisher. Y'all remember that? Jason Kidd legit was so mad at the Knicks that he wouldn't bring the ball up. Y'all remember that? Guards had to come all the way up the floor to get the ball to bring the ball up when Ray Felton was off the floor. And at the end of that season, Jason Kidd left the Knicks so fast, barely doing an exit interview. Think about when the exit interviews were going on with the Knicks, this man was interviewing for the Brooklyn Nets head coaching job. And now I have to read crap about Jason Kidd potentially being the head coach of the New York Knicks. Dre, what's good, bro?
What's good, Freeze? My fault. I had my thing on mute. I have my reservations about the Jason Kidd thing, so let
me finish this thing just real quick, right? So real quick,
you sent me for a loop with your reply, but continue. My fault.
Yeah. So I understand that Jason Kidd is a very good head coach. Historically, in my view, and I don't know these things to be absolutely true, but Jason Kidd seems to be a scumbag as a human being. All the way back to his New Jersey Nets days.
You can go back further than that.
Now, mind you, you can't judge a 50-something-year-old man what he did in his 20s. Maybe he changed and we don't know. And maybe he changed and I don't know. Right? Maybe he did. But what I would say to you is, based on his track record of all these things, would I weigh the total Jason Kidd baggage versus who he is right now and his potential? Is Uncle Freezy on board for Jason Kidd even being in consideration? No. And the reason being is not just Kidd, because the Dallas Mavericks have a vendetta, right? Even though Cuban is gone, the organization is not folded, right? In my mind, the Dallas Mavericks would want us to take on his salary and to take on one of those expensive contracts that won't be of any use to them, whether it's Kyrie or Anthony Davis. And I know these things sound impossible, but what I will tell you is a lot of smart people in the chat, right? But there are a lot of smart people in these front offices. And if they want to get something done, they'll find a way to do it. No mission is impossible to these front offices. They hire these people because they are problem solvers. They don't hire them because of their jump shot in the front office. Dre, what's good, man? The Jason Kidd thing is a rocking your shoe?
Yeah, I'm not with it. And part of my trepidation is because of King and Rel. Shout out to them over there. And you said like the Nets, hey, Freezy, we don't got to go too far. We could talk about Tony Braxton and Jim Jackson.
Yeah.
So it goes back really far. We could talk about DUIs and other.
We could talk about him not passing Jamal Mashburn the ball.
Yeah. So, from what I've heard, he's changed relatively. He stays very calm. He doesn't. If we thought Tom Thibodeau doesn't get technicals, Jason Kidd doesn't get technicals. He doesn't get fired up anymore on the bench.
Right.
even if he sees crazy stuff happening. And I have reservations in terms of how he steers the ship, in terms of everything. Like he's not a bad coach by no means, but is he the right coach? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I feel like we before we put all our eggs in one basket, we need to like do our
Canvas the
due
landscape,
diligence.
right?
Yeah, yeah. See who's out there and
Right.
from where, and do they align with what this roster is, and can they shape and structure and build things around this roster instead of trying to implement things that this roster might not necessarily be able to do,
Right.
because there's a lot of first time head coaches that come out the gate smoking and coaching at a high level for what the team that they have. So I don't want to completely dismiss like experience, because there is tangible experience and tangible things you can point to from Jason Kidd that says like he can probably coach this team very well. But I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. The best coach might not be the best fit. Just like there could be a coach out there that quote unquote might be worse than Tom Thibodeau, but how he coaches and how he steers the ship might yield better results. It's always process for me, process
So
over results.
the one thing I know about the New York media is when you see a fire, there is always smoke first, right? Like these things don't just jump on the radar, right? Like there are just now there have been random guys in the media that just make stuff up randomly, and we find that out easily and kind of navigate away from them, right? But at the same time, the Jason Kidd thing, the Jason Kidd Ime Udoka thing, where there's smoke, there's fire, I believe. Right. Like legitimately, you're not gonna dismiss a bunch of Tom Thibodeau like coaches out of hand and then point to players, coaches being the two guys that the Knicks prefer without it at least pointing back to the players having some say, right? Like if all the guys that are intense, over yeller, overreaching, um, um, principal type coaches, if all of them are dismissed out of the rumor mill. Now, I'm not saying that the Knicks didn't consider them. I'm just saying out of the rumor mill. If they're dismissed out of the rumor mill, that automatically leads me back to think that a reasonable mind would suggest that the players have some say in who the next head coach is. And if you ask Jalen Brunson, I'm going to say that Jalen Brunson has ties to one of the coaches that's on the list, the short list that has been circulating around for the last 12 to 18 hours. I guess 24 hours now.
I think to that point, I think it's still very early. Like whoever we do hire, it's gonna be before the draft. I feel like whoever we do bring in, I think we would want their input,
Yeah.
even if it's a second rounder.
Yeah.
Like you want some input. So it's gonna be something that gets sorted out within the next 2 to 3 weeks as the finals is wrapping up. But just because it's the first 24, 48 hours, the leading candidate doesn't necessarily have to be sorted out just right now. This is just
No.
the initial smoke, which usually the usual suspects at the beginning are usually at the end being weighed during the interview process.
I like your usual suspects reference there. That was clutch.
So it's I'm I'm more or less seeing, because from the news that I've seen, that it looks like the Knicks are canvassing all options. They're looking at college coaches. They're looking at veteran coaches. They're looking at assistants. So as long as I have faith in Leon Rose in identifying a quality candidate to coach. So it's hard to completely dismiss, but if we were to go this offensive route, Freezy, I'm not gonna lie to you. If we were to go the college route, I would think Nate Oates, just because he can coach some offense at an extremely high level. Granted, it is college, but
Yeah,
that
it's
man
the
is,
3-point. You talking about 3-point heavy?
but it is it's 3-point
3-point
heavy, but it isn't
heavy in
that
athletic
simple.
wings
Yeah,
and athletic wing players. Yeah.
yeah. Whoever, like, if hypothetically speaking, whoever, like, if we were to hire Nate Oates, that second round pick is going to be the most raw athlete that can't do anything with a basketball, but we know he could jump real high. He got real long arms.
Yeah, and Natos is going to teach him to play defense first, and his 3-point is going to come along.
Yeah, in 3 years he's going to be a 37% 3-point shooter.
Yep.
Just wait on it. So
Yep.
it's going to be one of those things. And whoever we actually take as far as a coach, if we make a draft pick, that draft pick is going to be and is going to have that coach in mind. Because remember when we got Tibbs, especially the first few drafts outside of Obi, it was straight Tibbs guys. And the Obi pick was legitimately a CAA thing. That was that was Leon Rose's son.
That was a COVID pick too, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get a chance to work the players out in person. You had to watch tape or the what do you call it? The mini combines all over the country where they had quarantine. The quarantine workouts.
There was no tourney. There was no NCAA tourney.
Yep. Yeah, because Quickly and Maxey would have been top 10 picks if there was a tourney that year.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
They were peaking at the right time in that season.
Yep.
They were ready to light that tourney up.
Yo, let me introduce our guy. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Fritz Alcindor, NBA Economy Show on YouTube. Heavy X contributor. Fritz, what's good, bro?
Hey, what's going on? Exciting times.
Yeah.
Soup.
Hey, so I have a conspiracy theory. Or
I have a couple, but one's not even in
me. Fritz, before you do that,
okay.
Hear me out. Mm-hmm. Fritz coming in ready to fire, right? Like, really, we got plenty of time, bro. Let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
On the Jason Kidd front, I think the Dallas Mavericks would give us Jason Kidd for free, right? If we pulled off an Anthony Davis trade with them, right? And I know we can't get Anthony Davis for free. I know that. I get that. Mm-hmm. Right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying take here. I'm saying if the two front offices could figure out a way for both organizations to get Anthony Davis to the Knicks, mm-hmm. I think they would throw in Jason Kidd. I think that's the only way Dallas would legitimately consider moving Jason Kidd to the Knicks, right? Because in my belief, I think Derek Lively and Cooper Flagg are the future of Dallas Mavericks basketball, and they are going to build their organization because in theory, they have the two hardest pieces to fill, mm-hmm. right? They have the two hardest pieces to fill. They have a franchise center, right? And they also mm-hmm. have a guy that can legitimately be a Jason Tatum type of franchise leader in a few years. The only thing they would need to do is build around Cooper Flagg and Derek Lively. But if you're the Knicks, what attractive piece do you have on your roster that will legitimately get an Anthony Davis type player here with that enormous contract and knowing he's going to miss games?
It's not. It's like the exact one that Cat has. It's like the same contract.
Yeah, it's enormous.
It's like yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's big. That's a high bar. That's a lot for a coach. I don't think Jason Kidd is worth it. I think they'll give us Jason Kidd just get off his contract.
Yeah, the $16 million. Yeah, I would say
And plus, what you did not say in here is Jason Kidd got the blame when he wasn't supposed to get the blame for that Luka deal, because he put his name in the rumor, and the way he worded it is as if Jason Kidd okayed it, and that's not what he did. He just had conversations about what kind of about offense and stuff, and he just went ahead and did the deal and said, "Oh no, me and Jason Kidd been talking about offenses," so he acted like Jason Kidd was in on it, and he wasn't in on it. He blindsided.
Yeah.
He just wanted a little cover.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Fritz. I would believe you if circumstances were normal circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I think the Dallas Mavericks would do this deal because of things like that. And also, when Jason Kidd wants to leave, and Dre, you know this, Fritz, you know this, you've seen it twice already with other organizations. When Jason Kidd is frustrated about something and he wants to leave,
he starts mailing it in.
He is gonna blow up ground zero. Y'all remember Brooklyn? Remember how he left Brooklyn?
Yep. You're gonna want him to leave.
Yep. You remember Milwaukee, bro?
Oh yeah.
And now look at Dallas.
Yeah. I think he could get out for free if he want. I think he just got to say the word.
The only thing is why would you turn down $16 million a year guaranteed?
Unless you got another 16.
The Knicks gonna have to pay him 20 in order for it to have the same contract value.
16 a year? Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, he asked ChatGPT, and they didn't release the numbers, but ChatGPT is speculating.
No, I'm pretty sure he's
the highest.
Yeah.
Tibbs wasn't at the highest. Tibbs was. I was kind of shocked.
No, we talking about Jason Kidd, not Tibbs.
Yeah,
I know, but I was kind of shocked. You would think in New York that Tibbs would have been the highest, but he wasn't among the highest.
No,
well, I mean, no one else is going to give Tibbs no contract. He's getting a contract by himself. Like, no way. Like, it's not like there's a bidding war for Tom Thibodeau out there.
And here's the context to it. How can you tell all your players to sacrifice for the team and then you get paid top dollar?
Mm-hmm.
Just context, right? Like, how can you tell JB, like, hey, JB, man, take this pay cut, and then your coach get top NBA dollar? Just don't sit right.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
I think I haven't. I don't think we would take Anthony Davis. I think if you get Anthony Davis, it kind of cancels out Cat. That's a lot of inside scoring, and I don't think either one would reach 25.
Nah, bro. Yeah, I think you are absolutely wrong on this one.
No, I mean, like, both are getting their numbers.
You are absolutely way off on this one, bro. In terms of you mean in terms of the two basketball players coexisting?
No, not coexisting. But you know how you have two rebounders, and you could have two 15 rebounders, but once you put them on the court together, one may get 15, the other is going to get like 10. You know what I mean? Nah, go around.
I think that the basketball part is a match made in heaven. For one, just because just think about this just real quick, because I don't want to talk about the Anthony Davis thing to the Knicks. Just this point, just real quick though.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how you have to load manage Anthony Davis, right, to keep him healthy, right, and then think about how you have to load manage Cat in a real sense, not the Tom Thibodeau load manage, but in a real sense, right?
Yeah.
And then when you think about those two together, they absolutely complement each other defensively in a way. Like if you have those two and Mitchell Robinson, now you probably have the best big man rotation in the last however many years in the NBA. Right? Because you could play Mitch his minutes. You could play Cat and Davis. You could play Cat at the 4 on offense, Davis at the 5 on offense. You can play Cat at the 5 on defense, and Anthony Davis at the 4 on defense, so that you can keep Anthony Davis healthy, but also because Anthony Davis covers more square footage than Karl Anthony Towns does, and he has more of a defensive awareness. So even if you stick Cat in one place and say guard this area, Anthony Davis can roam the floor, cover whoever, and cover up for Cat. Now, but the thing is not the basketball stuff. The thing is the money, right? Because the money is the thing.
You can't.
But anyway,
you can't do it with Mitch. You can't do it without Mitch in the deal. You can't do it.
You can't send OG and Josh Hart.
Why would they take that?
Why would they take Mitch? They already have Lively and the other center they got from
Gafford. They're gonna move off of Gafford.
They're gonna move off every. I think they're gonna move
yeah.
off. But
Yeah.
I digress. I didn't want to talk about the Mavericks. If y'all want to just talk about the basketball aspect of it, I'm with it. My mindset though was, why is Jason Kidd in New York Knicks head coaching basketball rumors if there is no smoke to the fire?
I don't hear him in legitimate rumors. I hear like those like bloggy people in the league think that I haven't heard of any rumor like legit.
I got sent some stuff. I might have to share it with you. I'm gonna share it with you on X.
Okay, but you know what I mean, those the fadeaway worlds, the ones that just make stuff up, or sources, people close to the situation type stuff.
I would say this to IKBM Dre.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Dre, I think Jason Kidd takes those kids off the bench, the drafted kids, and I think he turns them into exactly what you want them to be. The one thing we know about Jason Kidd is if you have raw talent with high ceiling, I think the combination of him and a Chris Paul maybe would take one of those guys or two of those guys at the back end of the bench and turn them into.
I'll say this, in the past, yes, but in more recent history, he hasn't. Because remember that Omax kid that they have, he never really played.
That dude, he wasn't nobody, bro.
I mean, I believe he was a first rounder. You want a return on investment, but they just couldn't really get anything out of him.
That dude wasn't. I never, Dre, and Fritz, y'all know me, bro. If a dude has talent, bro, I'll be the first to admit, like, bro, you ever heard of this dude such and such and such? And y'all be like, yeah, I know Tamari Kamara. I know who that is.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be the first to but that dude, that Omax, I think the fans wanted him to be something because he had measurables, but that dude had never shown, at least me, that dude had never shown any bit of bro. Y'all know me, bro. If there's a Ryan Dunn out there, y'all know I'll talk about that man.
Yeah, you probably already scouring them second round to see if we can get a rangy athlete.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, that dude, they was talking about gonna be something. I never saw anything in him, and for that reason, I think Jason Kidd didn't turn him into.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't had too many decent young guys there. They've had, in terms of guys they drafted or signed, they have Brandon Williams, and he's up and down. He hasn't really played him, and Hardy, and he's just extremely inconsistent.
Yeah,
even when he does play. So
he ain't nothing.
Yeah. We kind of don't know what these kids that we do have right now are, so we can't just automatically assume Jason Kidd wants nothing to do with them.
Right. See, you can't assume one way you can't assume that he'll turn them into a star or that there's nothing there.
But then, with this roster or potential roster, you don't even need him to be a star. We could, if one of them turned into a ham sandwich, they would be perfectly fine. a playable ham sandwich. If one of them turned into Grimes, we'd be perfectly fine with that.
We won, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Fritz, y'all know me, bro. Like if I see like a Najee Marshall like trying to find his way in New Orleans, I'll find him, bro. I'll find him. Dre, am I like, bro? How many years was I talking about Najee Marshall before Najee Marshall got to the Mavs?
You had a man crush on Najee Marshall.
I still do, bro. Still do. I would trade somebody for him right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? But the thing I'm getting at though is maybe there is smoke to the fire about Jason Kidd. I would like for our listeners, NBA Economy Show, Lawrence Tears, everybody in Knicks universe to be aware that names just don't appear on the radar for the sake of just appearing on the radar.
Definitely feelers.
Yeah.
But with that said, even with that said, it usually like whenever stuff leaks from our front office, it's very much like very recent. Like it's
calculated, right?
Yeah, like Leon Rose doesn't really have too many leaks. So when stuff comes out, there's usually a motive behind it or a narrative.
It's usually on purpose.
Yeah.
Because you remember that you remember the rumor on what's his name in Cleveland when we were going after Donovan Mitchell, and that rumor leaked.
Yeah, we kept planting stories.
Yeah, they were planting stories. So to push Cleveland.
It's one of those things where Leon and World Wide West, they kind of abuse the connections they have to push stories out there.
Yeah, because they push that, like they literally like reached out to somebody on Twitter and it's like, put this out there.
It's kind of funny. So I mean, who would you like as coach?
Just somebody who's like open to try anything.
Hey man, we might see a 2-3 zone day one, and that'll be more creative than anything that we've seen from Tibbs in 5 years.
I don't think you really need, like, people. It's like, oh, you need like the best coach ever. Like, you don't need the best coach ever if you have veterans. The veterans
can manage themselves. They just need structure.
Yeah, they just need to know the game plan. You don't actually have to like push the chess pieces up by yourself. You know what I mean?
Because to me, to be absolutely honest, just looking at the talent that we do have, you don't need the best coach. You just need a coach that fits.
Yeah,
and is willing to push his players as far
but
to
my
get
thing
as much
was
out of them.
The thing I thought was like the nail for Tibbs is
coffin?
Like not even the nail in the coffin, but like he gave up. Like the offense wasn't good, and he's just like, okay, we're gonna roll like this. Nah, you keep at it until you figure it out.
It's like he gave up after we had the first 2 months. We had the best pick and roll offense in the league, and instead of trying to get back to that, he gave up on it for like half measures with Josh Hart being in all the actions because you can't live in a world without Josh Hart.
But it was almost like, oh, this works the best for now. Like no, you have to fix it. Like even if you gotta take.
I'm not gonna lie to that point, Fritz. I saw on Twitter. I was looking earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
We played 95% of our possessions, the Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson possessions, with Josh Hart or Precious Achiuwa on the court. We saw double big or 5 out for 5% of their possessions, which is for an entire season is ridiculous. Like you acquire Karl Anthony Towns to not leverage that to his most ideal. You're just using him as a power forward, but as a power forward without a real big on the court. At that point, then you're not getting the juice for the squeeze. You're just doing like nonsensical half measures for this idea that your rebounding will be a lot better in our way.
Yeah.
It's just you can't live and die within with those parameters. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think the Tibbs thing is flawed. Chat, is it too early to move on from Tom Thibodeau? Right. Somebody that I trust told me that I'm moving on from the Tom Thibodeau conversation too quickly. Right. The phrase that was mentioned is, Uncle Freezy, you stepping over a dead body. I just like to step over dead bodies, bro. I'm moving on.
We don't like to stare at the bodies.
I moved on before the playoffs, bro.
That man didn't even hit the ground, Fritz.
Bro,
You didn't even let that man hit the ground.
Freezy, I was like, before the playoffs, I'm like, it's like in my mind, he already sealed his fate. Like, and I don't think I was the only one.
I'm gonna keep it so sincere with you. We won a lot of those games off of insane shot making. Just Cat just playing out of his mind. It was nothing ever easy. It was Cat doing turnaround fades, step back threes to beat Detroit. McHale hitting every tough mid-range jumper he could think of in the fourth quarter against the Celtics, and then we just ran out of juice.
Yeah,
I'm surprised by some people's takes. Like, seriously, I would sit there and it's like, oh, Tom Thibodeau had a great series. I'm like, how?
no,
How?
Bro, a lot of we won multiple playoff games solely because guys got in foul trouble and it forced Tibbs to actually use different rotations and lineups that actually helped. And if that foul trouble didn't happen, we'd be running the same rotation that was struggling. I can't give him too much credit.
Right. I would say the Tom Thibodeau thing basically ran its course. I think the organization knew after we lost to Indiana last season, right? I think if I'll say it this way. The way we lost to Indiana last year, not this year that just passed, but the OG injury series, the way that we lost that series, Tom Thibodeau got out-coached in 4 consecutive games. Now, we won one of those games, right? We won one of those games by a mere just back against the wall, will over skill, right? The game at the Garden, we just like, we just not losing here, right? But in that series, Rick Carlisle coached so many circles around Tibbs, but he did it off the floor. Like, for one, at the end of game 2, right?
The
in
media
that series,
games.
remember at the end of game 2, we were up 2-0, right? Rick Carlisle came out to that press conference and slammed the table and was like, Tyrese Halliburton hurt his back and Jalen Brunson pushed him in the back. And when he said that, now those are his words. As soon as he said that, I was like, holy crap. He just did something Tom Thibodeau's not going to do. Tom Thibodeau is not going to beg the referees for calls. And Rick Carlisle did that, the first words out of his mouth, going back to Indiana. And then when he did that, he riled up the Indiana fan base that was basically dormant. Remember, we were up 2-0 going to Indiana, right? And if the Knicks could have easily, because remember, we dominated games 1 and 2 with physicality. We could have easily went in and won game 3, and that series would have been over in 5, maybe even 4, right? But Tom Thibodeau didn't point out the fact that how Indiana's players were grabbing OG, anybody around the rim, that we had an advantage around the rim with Hartenstein and others that he didn't even campaign, right? How he beat us and how Rick Carlisle beat us in Indiana wasn't with exquisite offense. It was with his substitution patterns. Like, Rick Carlisle legitimately set the tone with his substitution patterns, right? Like, okay, I'm not going to play Halliburton his normal minutes. I'm going to bring in TJ McConnell against their starters and let TJ McConnell just go to the rim at will. Y'all remember that? Remember how we couldn't stop TJ McConnell going to the rim?
Yeah, he ran
And we was
down
like,
our
hey,
starters.
this dude playing a lot of minutes. We ain't seen this dude all year. The one time we did see him, we blew them out. Halliburton was on a minutes restriction. Y'all remember that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Halliburton had the injured back. He was coming back off a minutes restriction. We blew them out. Halliburton got in the press and said, if I had played, we'd have won. Anybody remember that? No? Okay, all right.
Vaguely, I remember.
I remember.
He used TJ McConnell against our starters, getting our starters like wasting energy and in foul trouble, and then brought Tyrese Halliburton back in to mop up the mess. But what Tibbs did, right? What Tibbs did is Tibbs, right? Instead of saying, "Hey, I know this is a gimmick. He's searching for something, right? Why don't we just crank up the defensive energy and play even more physical with TJ McConnell, a small guard, and force Rick Carlisle to look somewhere else for something?" But he didn't. He didn't react, and then TJ McConnell basically won that series for the Pacers by his off the just taking every guard we got off the dribble. And then when Dante DiVincenzo was in lineups against TJ McConnell, Tibbs would take him out and bring back in Deuce and Jalen Brunson. When Dante DiVincenzo last year was basically our savior. Now, Jalen Brunson was our best player throughout this playoffs last season, right? I'm not saying that he wasn't. What I'm saying is the second best player on the team during that run was Dante DiVincenzo. And every opportunity he got to take Dante out of the game, he did it. And you could see the lead blow up. And I'm like, if I see this and I'm a casual, well, not casual, but you know what I mean? I'm not a professional basketball analytic front office person. If I see this, I know the Knicks see it, right? But the injuries gave the Knicks front office like this thing, this like, man, we can't fire Tibbs right here because he's got a built-in excuse. Injuries. If we fire Tibbs right now because of injuries, we'll look bad, not Tibbs. So you give him another year to come back, and then when he comes back, every time we need defense, he sit Mitch. Every time we need offense, we like in these weird like Josh Hart. Why you have Josh Hart in there on offense? What does this mean? What does this mean? Why do we need offense?
It was no schematics. It was doing the same thing but harder.
Yeah.
There was no adjustments, no pivoting.
Fritz, that's why I think he fired. I think they forced him to walk the plank, right? They forced him to walk the plank last year. Like, yo, we're gonna keep the team healthy and we're gonna get you more talent, but you better win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, see, because think about it. The injuries was a built-in excuse last year, so they did something to account for the injuries this year.
But he was kind of the cause. And then he ran it back. He literally didn't change the high minutes. He literally ran it back again.
And how he kept him off his feet by saying, well, we don't practice as much as other teams. That's how we stay off our feet. Bro, everybody needs practice, bro. Can you imagine doing your job if you don't get reps?
He has 90s basketball brain. And he thinks star talent will decide every aspect of the game, but that's not the game anymore. It's just not how the league is anymore.
I think there's some fans who said that, hey, we should give him another year. Last year into this year is the other year.
That's the other year. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We watched, I think Dre was with us when we watched game 3 of the 2024 playoffs against Indiana. And I think with 6 minutes left to go, I think under 6 minutes, the Knicks had a lead. I think if I can remember it correctly. And it looked like we were on the verge of expanding the lead, and Tibbs would not bring back in Dante DiVincenzo and Alec Burks. He brought in Dante, but he wouldn't bring back in Burks, who was cooking. If y'all remember, Alec Burks scored like 13 points in like 13 minutes. And not only did he not play Burks, but we haven't seen Alec Burks as a Knicks since. And if you think about what the Knicks need right now, a big guard and scoring off the bench.
Yeah. Desperately, actually. We need another ball handler.
Yeah. And I'm not saying Alec Burks was perfect, but if you playing Alec Burks 12, 15 minutes, he's perfect for that. And y'all already know what he do in the fourth quarter.
It's not even about having a perfect player. Like, if you look at how Rick Carlisle steers his ship and controls his team, he gauges what he needs on a night to night. On a night he sees, okay, Mathurin does not have it tonight, I'm going to pull him out the game. He's not going to ruin what we can do. Or he sees Ben Shepherd has it tonight, so he plays Ben Shepherd more. Tibbs does not adjust his rotation throughout a game or throughout a series. He goes with whatever he feels. He predetermines what he feels is going to win, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's it. He predetermines. He telegraphs what he's going to do, which is why guys like Rick Carlisle outcoach him routinely, and just why he struggles on a playoff. Like, he struggles in the playoffs. Historically, he just has. I saw it before, and he's been in 13 playoff series. He's lost 7 of them as the higher seed. He's lost more than half of the series that he's been in as the higher seed, as the guy expected to win the series. That says to me, he's routinely just outcoached.
Yeah, I would say. Also, Drake, I think you're on to something. I like the point that Fritz made also. Right? Like, Fritz, I think to your point, I think the creativity part of it is Tibbs don't like it. He's not going to be creative, and he's not going to allow others to be creative. Right? Unless you're the apple of his eye. Right? If your name is not Taj Gibson, if your name is not Derrick Rose, if Tibbs ain't poo, if you're not the apple of his eye, bro, he not letting you know.
No,
I saw a game in who was it? I think it was me, Jay Boogie, Rob the Nick. It's like a bunch of us in Atlanta. It was a Saturday night game on ABC, right? It's all the ABC people there, the super long timeouts and all this stuff. And they go to the thing, and Derrick Rose is standing looking at the court, right? Tibbs drawing up all this stuff on the whiteboard. And right after everybody go back on the court, Tibbs walk over to Derrick Rose, pat him on the butt. And you can't tell what he told Derrick Rose, but it looked like, hey, screw all that stuff I just said, go get us buckets. That's what it looked like he was saying to Derrick Rose. Like, all the intent, you got the screen, you got the pen, all this stuff on the whiteboard. And then after that, he walked up to Derrick Rose, who wasn't even in the huddle, and pat him on, hey, man, go get us some buckets. Hey, what kind of coach is this? What is this, Disney?
It's
Come on, dog. What's happening here?
Like, at some point, as a coach, you got to take the reins and demand certain things on a possession to possession. And he will just let go of the wheel and just let stuff happen without reacting to it. It's just.
Well, let me ask y'all this: when should we officially move on from Tom Thibodeau, the Tom Thibodeau conversations?
When the finals start? Tomorrow. I can't do it no more.
You can't
Right
talk
now.
about Tibbs no more.
No, because the Knicks are moving on. Like, the Knicks,
They're
making decisions right now.
They
No,
are
I'm talking about
they're
you,
hosting
though.
Zoom interviews right now.
Right now, I'm talking about y'all. I'm talking about y'all sense of it, because the Knicks are going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to react to it.
Oh,
Right.
I already been over it.
I've been over it. I've been expecting it. I said it was inevitable unless it was bad business. Unless it was just family business.
I've been complaining about the same things for 4 years, bro. So
yeah. Well, what I saw was like inexcusable. Like,
Shout out to Miguel P. Miguel P says once we hire a new coach, I still got to flame this dude.
Yeah. I don't think Tom Thibodeau was a bad coach, bro. I think he was a good coach. That I think the organization outgrew his usefulness. If that makes sense.
I think basketball outgrew him. Basketball as a whole. I think that there are certain things that he is really good at, but he cannot steer the ship of a title contending team inside this iteration of the NBA.
Mhm.
He may have had a chance in 2011, 2012. This
Right.
NBA, no. This
No,
NBA where the two highest paced teams are in the finals, make no mistake, there is no mistake. The two highest paced teams are in the playoffs, are in the finals right now.
Right.
Because they play a certain style of basketball that
I think
requires bodies, waves of players. And if you can't play that slowed down 2010s, 2000s, 90s ball anymore. You just can't. And we shouldn't, nor should we. If we have this level of talent, the more possessions favor us. It should favor us against most teams, that is. And
All right.
we play down and let lesser talented teams.
So what's the
control
answer?
things.
So what's the solution?
A new
What's your
coach.
huh?
A new coach? I'm confused.
No, not that. I know a new coach is. A new coach is the only answer to that question. What I'm saying is what's the answer to getting the most juice from the squeeze in terms of this roster, taking the most advantage of the guys that we have available to play and have them playing to their full capabilities?
I think it's going to get worse. I think the Knicks are going to have less available to them this year.
I'm sorry, say that again?
They're going to need a coach. I think they're going to need a coach who can really get the best out of the roster. I think the Knicks are going to get another player, and it's going to get a little bit thinner.
Oh, man.
Pakam Dadier, get ready. Ariel Hukporty, get ready.
I mean,
You're going to play.
For what, though?
To play.
I'm saying,
get ready.
Maybe I'm missing your point. Like you're saying,
he's saying we're gonna make another trade to acquire somebody, and there's gonna be
those players are going to play,
and we're gonna need those guys we drafted to actually play basketball.
So so you're saying that the Knicks are gonna combine players, use depth in a trade to get one big player.
Yeah, we're gonna do some consolidation.
Right.
And you're gonna have to play Pakam Dadier. You're gonna have to play Kevin McCullough. I think they're gonna ride it out for a year. You know, I think Worldwide West, like, it's his job to get a few bodies who are gonna come here for a minimum. Get a few bodies to come here for a minimum. And I think it's his job. Give me two solid guys I can add to a rotation, and we're going to take a minimum deal.
Well, if you're in a position where you have a lot of talent, there are going to be ring chasers. And the way the CBA is set up, it kind of took away from the middle class of the league. And there's going to be a lot of guys that used to play for $10 million playing on minimums trying to get their stock up, kind of like Tyus Jones did last year.
Yeah. And the way it used to be is like, oh, everybody has a mid-level exception. Everybody uses it. It ain't like that no more. There's some teams who got money, and I think they ain't spending it on what you think they're going to spend it on.
Expound on that. What do you mean?
Used to be before, like, oh, I got $40 million. I'm gonna go get me a star, or I'm gonna go get me great
Oh
players.
no, they're filling that up with 3
They're
players.
They're filling up with somebody on last year of a contract. They're
Oh, they're
filling up
using
with
it
jump.
to okay, yeah,
Yeah,
they're using their salary cap
people don't.
to push out further
Yeah.
next year.
For someone, I'm gonna say this, bro. It's gonna sound a little disrespectful.
Mhm.
My guy.
Mhm.
I think the Giannis thing is off the table. I think Giannis is headed to one place and one place only.
Oh, I don't think he's coming to New York.
And that's the no. I got you. Let me finish. I got you.
Mhm.
The one guy that loved Giannis from day one is gonna gut his roster and build a championship roster this offseason around Giannis. Like, he's not only gonna trade for Giannis, he's gonna bring in everybody he possibly can to get Giannis a chip. And that team is Toronto, bro. I think the Toronto Raptors are primed and ready for the big move, right? Like, they have a bunch of young, talented players. They have a bunch of veteran contracts. They have dudes in certain roles. I think what Toronto is going to do is going to try to recreate the Kawhi year, right? Now, they don't already have a Fred VanVleet on the roster. They don't have a Kyle Lowry on the roster.
Pascal.
Right. They don't have the OG that plays, and then, you know what I'm saying?
They don't have Surge.
Yep.
What's his name?
But you know who they do
Gasol.
have, though? They already have the Norm Powells on the roster. You know what I'm saying? They already have those type dudes on the roster already. Right. And so
They have a couple.
I'm not gonna lie
He's
to
on
you,
the Clippers,
Freezy. I hope they gut their roster, because Giannis and a bunch of dudes is not just gonna win. Like, we just saw it the last 3-4 years. Giannis and just guys is not gonna win.
Nah, but they're not gonna. But the assets that they have, they can trade for veterans. Like, when you look at RJ Barrett's contract extension, well, I guess it's not an extension now; it's a contract now. It's not like RJ's making $34 million. I think RJ's making like 27.
Yeah.
You can trade RJ for a legit veteran that fit. You can trade Emmanuel Quickly for a veteran that fit, right? You can trade certain guys for veterans that'll fit with Giannis. And at the end of all of that, right, at the end of the Giannis reign, they could just blow it up and get back to what they normally do. Get back in the lottery and start all over again. Now, mind you, here's the thing, because I think Nick Yak alluded to it or pointed to it. Toronto is not a small market. Toronto is huge. If I'm not mistaken, Toronto is the biggest city in Canada, right? Fritz, you live right there, bro. You live in Toronto, why don't you?
Maybe population wise.
That or what is it? It's it's like top. It's definitely top 2.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest city in Canada, right? And
Montreal or Toronto. It's one of the two.
Yeah, it's not Vancouver. I think it's Toronto, right? But either way it goes, the thing about Toronto is their fan base is rabid, bro. Their fan base is crazy when that team is winning. And if you send and I don't have to sell NBA fans on the Toronto fan base, right? Because if you remember when they were winning and we would go there, bro, you could barely even hear the announcers. But when it was just DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, you could barely even hear the announcers, right? And so I think Giannis is going there. And the reason why I say that is this, Fritz. If the Knicks are searching for that guy that you're talking about, I think we can take Giannis off the board. And then, but who else would that leave? That's the reason why I brought that up.
Okay. Okay. So who I think it is, and everything they say that
Anthony Edwards. Everything they say, bro, you know it's Anthony.
No, it's Devin Booker. It's Devin Booker, and everything they say makes it seem like he's not available, but everything they're doing says that he's available. I don't think he's available to everyone.
But the thing that they said, well, it might be
In the coaching
just token.
search,
Yeah, they said he was part of the coaching search, but
they dropped that tidbit. But everything they're doing says that they're gonna tear this whole thing down.
Yeah,
they want their draft pick back. They want their control. They want to start it over.
No, but they don't just want that one. They want multiple of them back. But if you're not losing, it doesn't make sense to want your old draft picks back.
Yeah. But
unless you want to lose.
To that point, even then, you want control of your draft picks so you can trade them again if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to retool, like you still want control. It's not necessarily if you want to tank and bottom out again.
No, it doesn't.
Want control of flip them.
Okay, the odd ones that they kept, they're all swaps.
Yuck.
So yeah, it doesn't make a difference.
But I'm saying if they're swaps, then it doesn't even benefit them to tank, except for 1 year maybe. You can't bottom out twice in a row.
I know. So why do you want your old picks back? So unless you want the odd years, but you have to be losing for it to benefit you. And if you're not losing, it doesn't benefit you.
Well, yeah, I did. Okay, so in a sense, right? In a sense, what I would say to that is because I think I agree with you in the direction you're going. I honestly believe the all-time best player in a franchise's history is going to be too costly for the Knicks to trade for, whether it's Giannis or Devin Booker. Now, I get you. Mm-hmm. The draft pick thing, your own draft picks, is how you organically replenish the back end of your roster. Teams that rebuild usually accumulate draft picks from other teams, right, to either take more bites at the apple or to package in a trade to trade up in a draft that has the ideal player that they want.
I know, but it doesn't make any sense if you're not losing. If you,
I get it.
Hold on, want your own back.
But you don't have to have your own back, though.
Yeah, you can have another one.
But say if they get San Antonio's pick and it winds up being number 1, you think they would prefer to have Phoenix Suns at 11?
I think they want their own picks back so they have control enough to
so that they can flip those idea picks.
They can't flip them anymore.
They already gave the swaps.
They already swapped them out, so it doesn't help them at all.
Right.
It doesn't help them at all because they can't undo that.
Right. No, I get that. I get that part. I get that part.
There's a couple of things. But
let me ask you a follow-up question to your point. To the thing you said, Aston. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then what can the Knicks offer Phoenix for Devin Booker that helps them in that scenario that you just mentioned? Because we have two things going on. You mentioned Devin Booker to the Knicks, and you mentioned their draft picks being in a odd circumstance.
Only moving salary in a 3-team deal.
It has to be more teams
where they get picks, and we send, like, hypothetically speaking, Cat out. I don't think it would be smart to do that, but sending Cat salary or whoever salary out to another team, and that other team gives them their pick back and draft compensation.
Yeah, I was working on a couple of them, and at first I did start out with Cat, but another team that does intrigue me is Atlanta, because Atlanta, they put Jalen Brunson and Ricochet together, and they really shouldn't. They got Ricochet because he was the best thing on the board.
Yeah, he was the best pick in the draft.
Yeah, but putting him in a Jalen Brunson
in their mind anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know if they take Jalen Brunson and put him on the Suns and OG.
Oh man,
OG and what? I know you're gonna be upset.
No, bro. What is it? This don't make basketball sense. This just makes trade sense.
No.
Yes.
No, it just isn't just those.
Fritz.
Jalen Brunson and
so you just said two things that conflict.
And Dyson Daniels all together.
They drafted Jalen Johnson with a late first round pick, right? No less than 20 minutes ago, we were just talking about the value of draft picks. And so they had to, but they have a value at Jalen Johnson, who's a borderline all-star type potential, right? And you're just gonna trade him away for the first thing for a dude that's 29 years old that can't win on his own team, and then you're gonna play a ball dominant guy with man. Some of this I don't know.
No, I don't think, because they need to win with Trae Young eventually. You can't keep punting. Can't keep punting.
I think
How long
Trae Young is more likely to get traded.
I'm about to go smoke a cigarette, bro.
How long did
keep?
Yeah, with the filter cut off.
Got that man smoking cools.
Yeah, man. I'm about to smoke that thing down to the green line, bro.
I'll say this to the point. There's gonna be a lot of moving this summer.
Yeah.
So as crazy as that might sound, that might be a fraction of like the ludicrous stuff we might see over the summer.
Yeah, and you don't know. I know a lot now. It's kind of frowned.
Can you explain how it makes sense in a basketball sense, though? Why three front offices would consider this move on the court, though?
On the court, well, Atlanta gets to another defender to go along with what's his name,
Trae.
Along with Trae, and I think it makes more sense if they're going to try to make the playoffs. And Jalen Johnson's numbers aren't that great, even though he has great potential. And they have already extended him. It's not like he's on a rookie contract and you're trying to squeeze
like
out that value.
$20 million a year.
30.
Like that. It's 30.
30.
I thought it was 25. Jeez.
30 a year.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Because he's the franchise player, bro.
How?
He's the
How is he the franchise?
He's the
$30
future.
million ain't franchise money anymore. Because if we said that, then OG is our franchise player by that.
Nah, see, y'all comparing two different things. This is this dude's second contract.
True.
All right, this is not his third contract, bro. This is not his 7 to 11 year window.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
What I would say, Fritz, is the Knicks' pursuit of Devin Booker, even though the Knicks do need a big guard that shoots off ball and things of this sort. And it makes sense in a basketball way for the Knicks, but everybody else involved, they're gonna get pennies on the dollar for the Devin Booker value. Right, like because the thing is, why would the Knicks trade Karl Anthony Towns for Devin Booker?
I didn't say Karl Anthony Towns.
Ooh, you said in the first trade.
No, I said when I said when I started work sharpening it. I said at first I started with Cat.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And I said okay, and I said I ended up with like OG and then other stuff in there, but yeah, it's also draft picks going around and stuff. So. But yeah, I don't think Jalen and Reese Shea is going to work. And if Trae wasn't there and you're starting over, you're just starting.
Explain, but you gotta explain that why it wouldn't work though. So why wouldn't those two work?
I think they're kind of too similar. I think they're too similar, and neither one is like a defensive player. I think it's not going to be a winning basketball. If you're going to have Trae Young, you want to make the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs anytime soon with those two.
I went Nick Yak, bro. I'm going to pass on Devin Booker if it includes OG. I like the net outcome of OG versus the net outcome of Devin Booker. And I know on the surface it seems crazy when you think about it, but I think OG's defense is similar to Devin Booker's offense, even with when you compare Devin Booker's defense to OG's offense.
I know, and that's a valid point, but on different play styles, different coach, would they? In Leon, Leon has a vested interest. Would another coach see it differently?
I think Dre sees it differently. You don't even have to get another coach.
No, I'm just saying maybe a coach is like, nah, I'd rather the offensive firepower, and then I'll deal with the consequences, or our offense may overshadow our defense. I mean,
the way we're built right now, our offense should be doing that anyway. But when you commit to half measures, you put yourself in scenarios that we were in.
Yeah. Or repurpose Mikal. Like his play style would change when personnel change.
I think if you stop ramming Mikal Bridges into a brick wall and then expect him to shoot jumpers like Reggie Miller, I think you automatically get a better version.
Yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't be
the
like
Devin Booker thing, though. The Devin Booker thing, I would say, here's Dre. You ready for a conspiracy theory?
Yep.
I think the Knicks are not targeting anybody in their third or fourth contract. I think the Knicks, if they make a major move, they're going to target somebody that's either about to enter their rookie max extension or is already there, where they have like 2 or 3 years of reasonable NBA money for the next 2 or 3 years. Like 35
I said that the other day.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they
I
targeted
said the
Mikal.
2021 draft.
Yeah. That's why I think they're and so if anybody is going to be targeted by the Knicks, and this is my thought, it won't be another $50 million player. It won't be another $40 million. It won't be another OG. It won't be another Bridges. It'll be somebody on the cusp of major stardom that you can get for pennies on the superstar dollar, right? Somebody that is either in that Cade Cunningham class or the Paolo Banchero class, right?
No,
Somebody that you can get right now, that you can bring in. For instance, I'm just going to say this name, even though I don't think it's a good basketball fit. Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think it's a good basketball fit because you don't know what Jonathan Kuminga is because of the role he had to play with Golden State. But at the same time, somebody in that
class.
Yeah.
You killed me for the
Ideally, it would have been Quentin Grimes if Quentin Grimes was an NBA player.
Yeah. But Freezy, you killed me for this take of it the other day.
What?
You killed me for that same take the other day.
No, I didn't, bro. I've been telling people this for weeks.
2021 class.
Yes.
Remember, I came up here and talked about the 2021 class, and I said I mentioned Kuminga. I said the same class Kuminga. You guys killed me for using the word Kuminga. I'm like,
me? No,
yeah.
No, Fritz. No, bro. I'm only the only reason why I'm not saying Cade Cunningham's name is because Detroit would never trade him.
No, he's already extended.
I know this, but that's perfect, right? He's already extended, right? So he's locked into that salary range for the next 4 years, right?
Yeah. No, but actually the smart thing is to get them before they're locked in. Someone who doesn't want to pay them. Someone who wants a big money and the team is like, we don't want to give you that amount of money, but we don't want to, have a lame duck year and then have to compete next year offering you a salary.
Well,
Like
the reason why Say that again.
like Jabari Smith.
Well, the reason why a franchise wouldn't want to pay him it'd be for what? Because that player is not performing up to expectation, right?
Expectations, yeah. So basically, you're stealing them, saying, "Hey, I'll give you the money. I believe enough, or I don't care about the money enough that I'll do it."
I'm not. Yeah, see, but the thing is I'm not reaching down to grab a player. What I'm saying is a player on the verge of superstardom. I don't think Jabari Smith is on the verge of superstardom. Right now,
then they're not available.
If you had said Jalen Green, a guy with megastar potential that's underachieving,
Jalen Green, they'll get rid of him in a second if they can get rid of him.
I think Jalen Green's gonna be another Andrew Wiggins.
If they can get rid of him, they'll get rid of him.
How you doing, everybody?
Salute, Reese. What's good, man? Hey, glad to have you, man.
Yeah. Question. Do you think?
Hey, ho.
Yeah.
Coming in hot.
Jump the line. My bad.
Wait. We got to follow the flow of the conversation, bro.
All right, my bad.
Yeah. Nah. No disrespect. Listen, nah, I'm glad you're here. I'm just wanting to say that Fritz was about to finish his point, and so we're trying to get to a thing where so we won't have 2 or 3 points up in the air. But as soon as we finish, bro, we're gonna get to your thing, get to your point, though, okay?
All right.
Yeah, no doubt. Respect, and I'm absolutely glad you're here too. By the way, just want to say that. Go ahead, Fritz.
Yeah. So Jalen Green extended last year. I think next year he makes like $33 million. He absolutely bombed in the playoffs, and they will get rid of him in a minute. But to match that salary, you're gonna have to give up one of the 4.
Who do you say, Jalen Green?
They got a lot of power forwards on that team.
No, I mean you're gonna have to give up
Jalen Green.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to give up either Mikal. You're either gonna give up Cat.
Wait a minute, you tell me. So you saying the Knicks can't come up with $33 million outside of these starters?
No, they can't.
Yeah, they can.
How much does Josh Hart make?
Josh Hart and Mitch.
Josh Hart is a starter.
I don't think so.
Josh Hart is 20. They don't want Josh Hart.
Nobody.
Especially with 3 more years.
You don't know that, though.
Well, it's 2. It's 2.
Josh Hart has value.
The last year, I believe, is
but not as much as we hope.
Yeah, but not Jalen Green.
No,
that type of value. No. Josh Hart has 3 more years.
On that team, I think Tari Eason might be someone that's grabbable.
Yeah, that's their prized possession.
I don't know. I think it's going to be between him and Jabari Smith, whoever.
That's their prized possession. Tari Eason is the one person that's untouchable. Unless Giannis is coming, they're not. Tari Eason is not in there.
Dre, did he say Tari Eason is their prized possession?
Yes.
Where have I been?
Did you forget about Sengun?
Sengun is great, but Tari Eason is
Jokic Jr.
Yeah, they're not giving up Tari Eason. That's not a conversation unless they're talking superstars and in the mix of a superstar trade. They're not giving up Tari Eason.
Yeah, okay. If you said untouchable, I'd have been okay. But
no, unless it's a superstar trade, they're not giving up Tari Eason.
That man said prized possession, bro.
No, you know how those players that the conversation's over as soon as you bring up their name.
All right.
And
I think Tari Eason is more of a sweetener than
I think he's a sweetener, bro. I think
he's a good basketball player, and he's probably gonna make anywhere between 15 to 20 million on an extension.
No, he's
talented, but the role that he's seeking out, he's not even gonna get enough minutes to get to production.
No,
that's why it's Jabari's in front of him.
He's getting paid. He's getting paid.
What's the actual subject that I walked into for sure?
So sneaking another player.
I got you. Hold on. I got you. So, Coach, my guy just said that the Knicks are probably going to be in pursuit of a megastar. And so I took Giannis off the table because I think Toronto's GM, legitimate or team president, is going to give everything that he has for Giannis. I think he's going to overpay in a world-wrecking type of way to get his sweetheart. And I think Giannis would be amenable to it because of all the team presidents that loved Giannis. This dude loved Giannis from day one. They made a movie about it, about this love affair with this guy. Right. Let me do this real quick, man, so we can get back to it. I just want to welcome Reese. Hey, man. Hi. Hey, how you been, bro?
Salute, Reese.
Hey, so what were you gonna say to us real quick?
Hey, yeah, I was saying, I don't think Devin Booker will be a good choice, only because his 3-point shooting the last couple of years has been very spotty, and I think that's kind of like it'll be like kind of another Josh Hart situation. You know what I'm saying? A small guard who can't really shoot that well. You get what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So I think our best course of action right now is to get a modern head coach that runs a modern offense, that knows how to maximize the Towns Brunson combo, run more pick and pops, more cutting, more five outs. You know what I'm saying? A modern offense. We need that type of coach that can maximize the talent that we have on the team.
All right, well, wait right there. Let me ask you this. What modern offense would you like to see the Knicks run?
Okay, like an offense like I don't know, so maybe more like the Pacers, more like the Warriors. You know, a modern offense where it's like more. It's not predictable. The reason we got beat by the Pacers is because our offense is so predictable. We give it to Brunson on ISO for 15 seconds, and then when that doesn't work, we panic and throw it out to Mikal for him to shoot a brick. That's basically our offense.
Right.
It's
No, I got you.
Very predictable.
I got you.
Very
I
stagnant.
feel you right there.
They was able to put the
thing is,
clamps on
though,
us.
when you mention those type of teams, you mentioned Indiana and Golden State. That means you probably have to do a roster adjustment to accommodate the system that you want to run.
Well, okay, I'm not saying a complete facelift. I'm talking about like a complete overhaul. Like we could implement more offensive strategies, modern offensive strategies into our schemes. I'm not saying a complete overhaul. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying more diversity with our offense. More diversity because our offense was so predictable. Indiana was able to basically shut us down the whole series. He shut us down. Brunson couldn't do anything. Brunson could even spit without somebody being in his face. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so predictable. They put the clamps on us.
Right. No, and so we get that. We get that part. Like, I think that's the baseline for all of us. I think that's the reason why we're having a conversation. I think
that's why Tibbs got fired, because he doesn't know how to run a modern offense.
Yeah, well, I think Tibbs got fired because he was unwilling to run a modern offense.
Exactly.
Right, because
and he got exposed. The Indiana Pacers exposed us. He exposed us. He exposed us.
How?
Because Rick Carlisle, he was able to know everything that Tom Thibodeau knew how to do. He was able to basically intercept everything and basically shut down our whole game plan. Our whole game plan, he completely shut down. Brunson was turning the ball over like crazy, and that's very uncharacteristic of Jalen Brunson. He's not a turnover machine, but he made him turn over the ball like we never seen him. Like, he's never turned over the ball like that. But because the defense they played against him, he was able to he turned over the ball constantly during the series, and that's because he had no room. We had no air, no room to operate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we have a stagnant offense that's very predictable. That's why he was able to put the clamps on us, and we was able to not do what we normally do. So we need a more modern coach that runs modern offenses where it's not so predictable.
Right. Okay.
And another thing I was gonna say.
Wait, Reese, hold on. Remember, this is a show now. This ain't like come up here and just spit 30 minutes worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. We all rocking together. We got you, dog. We rocking with you. The first thing, the thing that you mentioned, let me ask you this. Did you get frustrated when you see Jalen Brunson get smothered bringing the ball up the floor every offensive possession?
I almost broke my TV. I almost threw the remote at my TV. That's how frustrated I was.
Me too.
Watching the whole series, I was like, "What the hell? Why is Brunson turning the ball over like this? He never does this."
Right. Or why didn't another guard come up to help Brunson get the ball up the floor? Right.
That too. But even when we had Mikal take the ball up the floor, that really wasn't much difference.
Because
They still shut us
only bring the
down.
ball up the floor
They shut us down in the half court as well.
He only brought the ball up the floor a little bit, and as soon as he got across half, he was trying to give it back to Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, they pick up the dribble.
Yeah.
They shut us down in the full court and the half court. They completely shut down the whole game plan. They put the clamps on us.
Right.
They put the clamps on us because our offense is so predictable. Carlisle was able to know everything, every move we make before we even made it. That's how predictable our offense was.
Here's why I know it was a philosophical and scheme problem. There's not one defender in the league that Jalen Brunson can dribble past with his footwork and his dribbling and his moves. He could simply do that before he even gets to half court. He can just dribble past someone and sprint up the court. He shouldn't be the one bringing up the court anyway. It should be someone else. But because our style and everyone wants to slow it down and keep it at a slow pace instead of pushing the ball up the court.
And not everyone, Coach. Everyone don't want to do that.
Not everyone, but the people that do, that's what I'm referring to. So besides that, we also have a guy who 99% of the league, he can take off the dribble and get in the paint and get a shot off. Okay. Why do you bring on-ball screens and bring an extra defender to him? We should be doing off-ball screens with him, not on-the-ball screens. You got a man that can take anybody in the league off the dribble.
Yeah, that's basically Tom Thibodeau's offense. Give it to Brunson, ISO for 10, 15 seconds. If that don't work, they panic, throw it to Mikal or throw it to Towns, and they rush a shot the last second. That's basically what our offense was in the Indiana series.
Right. But yeah, to the point that you're making, no, Tom Thibodeau didn't run backside actions that put help defenders in jeopardy. To put it simply, backside help defenders were never in jeopardy of leaving their area. Right. So that means those guys could go up and press Jalen Brunson and recover to the next closest person. That's because the offense had limited imagination in it. Right.
None at all.
Like what about this? What about Jalen Brunson coming up top to screen for Cat?
That's creative.
That's creative. You ever thought about that?
You should be the coach, Freezy.
Right?
You do a better job than Tibbs, obviously.
Because Coach, think about this. If Jalen Brunson comes up top to screen for Cat, and I'm not saying that Jalen Brunson have to knock somebody's head off. What I'm saying is all he has to do is present himself as a cone, right? So now you can't trap Cat up to, you know how you can pressure a big and make him turn the ball over? You can't do that with Jalen Brunson on the backside right there, right? You can't, but you can bring, but what you do is bring a help defender up top, because if he gets that ball to Brunson, now those guys that are the tag man that tag the roller and recover to the corner, now they have to come up away from that spot, that box that they normally are. And now you create baseline cuts from either three-point shooter that you have isolated in the corner. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Freezy, I was gonna say, there's some good free agents out there right now, like Tyus Jones. I think he'll be a great pickup.
Yeah, we definitely need an extra ball handler.
Yeah, Tyus Jones, man.
Combo guard. You can never go wrong getting a couple extra.
He won't cost that much. He might cost maybe $2 million, $3 million in that range. You know,
that's
great
what he's trying to
great
avoid.
backup point guard.
Hey Fritz,
he took less money last year, hoping to make more money this year.
So Fritz, how much do you think someone like Karis LeVert's going to cost in the offseason?
I don't know. Probably 15. Probably. And we don't have any I don't like.
No, I know we'll have to move money. We have to move a little money, obviously to make an opening for someone that costs that much, Because how much room do we have without re-signing like Achua and all the guys that have the 1 year left? People
so we have $8 million
Mhm.
of room, but we have so many spaces. If we fill out all the spaces with minimums, one guy could make like 4 million or 5 million. That's about it.
Right. Yeah, the mid-level exception guy can make.
Yeah, but then then the rest is tight. You probably need a few draft picks.
Yeah.
Like, you know how we did it last year where we were trying to squeeze every dollar.
Yeah.
You're kind of in that kind of situation. So I wouldn't really look at free agency unless they're coming for a minimum. At best, you're looking at someone taking $5 million, 5.7, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's probably the most anybody's going to get out of the Knicks.
I just think Karis LeVert is a perfect piece, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
for what we're doing, and he's 30, which isn't old, but it goes along with the age of our guys. He can run some point. I've seen him do playmaking stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Currently, he's like Cleveland. I think Cleveland will bring him back.
Yeah. Oh, wait, was he with Atlanta or Cleveland?
Oh, I think he's. Oh no, Atlanta actually.
Oh, he was
traded. Yeah, he was in Cleveland. And they traded. Yeah, they traded him.
Yeah, Atlanta's in a weird spot.
They're just like they're not going to make the playoffs anytime soon.
Right.
Like, and the way they drafted, like you drafted two players in the same spot, and neither of them are good at defense.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, you can't do that. That's why I said for OG, because I was like, that would make more sense than what they had. Because unless you're getting rid of Trae Young, because like there's no point of keeping Trae Young around and try to make because you're not going to make the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
just tank it.
Yeah, I think there might be a couple of situations of sign and trade things from other teams, like guys like Bobby Portis, who has a player option.
Yeah. But like all those, like we would have to give up something. Someone
we have to give up Josh or McBride or Mitch. They're the only ones. Then the only reason why I say those names, it's not that I want to get rid of Mitch. It's not that I want to get rid of all these people. It's just they're the only ones that have the amount of salary that warrant someone of value back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I was on one of the shows the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you don't like this player?" I'm like, "Hey, you can't do anything unless all our decent players make money. No one on the bench. Deuce makes like 4 million.
Yeah.
Everybody else makes like 2 million. Like you can't.
Like that's why I'm not as making as big a deal about Deuce, because he's really making nothing. So you're getting what you're paid for. It's a bargain. But we thought he was gonna be. I mean, he played like a $4 million guy. Unfortunately, this year he really did. Unfortunately.
I have a question. I have a question to you guys. Would y'all be open to trading Josh Hart?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm thinking.
The thing is, I realize some of the things that are valuable about Josh Hart. He's a high energy guy.
Mm-hmm.
Does make great plays here and there that surprise you, but we're not in the business of
wow plays.
Yeah,
right?
we always
consistency.
We always joke around saying that Josh giveth and then Josh taketh away.
Take it away.
It's like the Paul Abdul song, 2 steps forward, I'll take 2 steps back. That's how he is.
If he was a great defender, he can get away with being a poor shooter. Right. But he's not that great of a defender. He's a very average defender.
Like over and over, because anyone that watches playback TV with us, and a lot of times Freezy and I were like, Josh, what do you do? Like he gets blown by one-on-one all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He he sneaks inside to get rebounds on the backside when he should be closing out on
He
threes.
passes up open shots.
Yeah, he gets beat backdoor all the time. I'm just talking about his defensive shortcomings.
Yeah.
Not only that, when we play him in a spot where OG has to play a more athletic person and can't defend the 4, he's stuck playing the 4, and he's freaking too small. He gets bullied.
6'3", 6'4", he can't play the 4.
He can't defend Siakam. He can't defend friggin' guys like that. And look, he rebounds at a high rate for his size because the way he hustles and all that. I'll give him that 100%. But a lot of his stats, the guy plays so many minutes, it's accumulation stats. And I say this a lot all year, and I'm not saying Precious is the answer or we should keep him or whatever. But when Precious plays that much minutes, he gets double-doubles too. He's done it the last 2 years. Whenever Precious starts, he averages a double-double. It's happened. He's been doing it his whole career with us.
Coach, I think the only way Hart will really be valuable to this team moving forward is if he stays his ass on the bench. Yeah, and do you really want to pay a bench player $20 million a year? Really?
No. Well, that's what I'm saying. Josh, if he's our 7th or 8th man off the bench, getting us 20, 25 minutes, I'm okay with that, but not at 19, 20 million.
Exactly. So it's better if we flip his contract and get 2 players for the price of 1.
Right.
That can kind of equally do both things. You know what I'm saying? Rebound and maybe shoot better.
Our other piece that unfortunately we're going to have to package him with one of our young guys or even someone like Deuce and or draft pick or 2 to sweeten the pot.
There's also this guy named Chris Boucher. He's on the market, and he's going to demand maybe $10 million. You know what I'm saying? And he's longer, better defender, better shooter. I'd rather have Chris Boucher than Josh Hart, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of guys that
he'll cost half the price.
No, I'd rather my guy, the guy I've been wanting for the last 2-3 years to come back to New York is Bobby Portis.
Him too.
I think he's the perfect combo, stretch 4, can sometimes play some 5 if one of them 2 guys get in foul trouble. He rebounds, he can shoot. He's above average defender, so he's not a great defender, but he's a pro, you know what I'm saying? And he makes only 12, 13 million.
Exactly. And I think all this roomy stuff, Villanova, Knicks stuff, a lot of that stuff is clouding our vision. You know what I'm saying? We're letting that get in the way of the ultimate goal, which is the championship.
Yeah.
All this friendship stuff, that don't mean nothing. We're trying to win a championship.
Yeah, because you saw them rumors today about people being frustrated with Rick Brunson too. So.
No, well, he's an assistant coach. Leave him alone. I don't know what's all that hype about. Leave him alone. That's
so weird.
He's on the bench. He's assistant coach.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Playing the games.
So now that here's the thing, our the guy that runs our ship, our guy, Jalen Brunson. I don't know how much this affected him. How close he really is with Tibbs as far as this firing. How much do we want to compound his comfort level? I think him and Josh have the kind of relationship where it's they understand. It's not like they're not going to be best friends anymore if Josh gets traded. But that's his best friend. That's his brother. It's kind of.
But who are you gonna? I think there's very limited things you can trade Josh Hart on his own that you would like.
Are you kidding me? What? Do you know how many teams would love a Josh Hart on their team?
Josh Hart is the
perfect, not at $20 million though.
Not at $20 million.
No, Josh Hart is that perfect piece on a team that's quote unquote tanking, but they're not. They don't want to show like they're tanking. You know what I mean? Josh Hart's literally going on the Utah Jazz, and they still want to win in 35 games because they got a couple of decent veterans that
put it this way: if we traded Josh Hart to the Jazz for what's their center's name? What's their center's name?
Walker Kessler.
Kessler, right? Trade him to the Jazz, which is a rebuilding abomination of a team, for Walker Kessler and maybe somebody else, and
you know what
they'll
they
do
asked
that.
for?
They'll do it.
You know what they asked for Walker Kessler?
Yeah, Josh.
They're trying because they're gonna lose him. They're gonna lose him for nothing anyway. So they
No,
might as well
no.
get somebody.
He's restricted.
Yeah.
They asked for 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And a young player.
Yeah.
But Josh Hart, he's a good piece. I think they would accept Josh Hart.
But they're not trying to win.
Is Josh Hart worth 2 first-round picks and a young player?
No, I'm saying if the Knicks were to trade Josh Hart, right, for Walker Kessler and maybe a bag of chips, I think the Jazz would do it. They would do it. They know they're not going to keep Walker Kessler.
Walker
and
Kessler
you might as well get a good player for him anyway. And Josh Hart is a good player. He's a damn good player.
Walker Kessler is worth 2 first-round picks and a young player.
But that was last year. Last year's price is not today's price.
And he had a great year.
Yeah, and so even if that's the case, can you say the same thing for Josh?
Yeah, Josh has consistently over the past 5 years that he's been with the Knicks. Well, 3 years that he's been with the Knicks, consistently showed that he's one of the best glue guys in the NBA.
And for that reason, what you just said, you talked in a circle just now, Reese. Because if Josh Hart is that valuable, why are you trying to move him?
Because Freezy, come on now. Just because a player is good. Wait, Freezy. I'm getting there.
Why are we trying to move him?
Just because
you're trading your best player's best friend. Why would you want to do that?
Just because a player is good does not mean he's good for your team. He's a good player, but he doesn't fit the core that we have right now. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of do in a sense.
He was good. He was great when we had Randall and Barrett and all of them. But right now with Mikal and
hold on. Reese, hold on. The thing is, Josh played a certain way with a certain type coach.
Yes.
You don't know what he looks like with another coach.
I know he can't shoot that well. That's what I know. He cannot shoot that well.
Well, but you don't know what Josh looks like with another coach. What I'm saying is being because I always felt Josh Hart was not misused, he was overused. And I think we all agree with that. I think we all agree that Josh Hart was overused. Like this guy playing 37 minutes as basically a 6th best player on your team.
That's the thing, Freezy.
Is overusage.
Me and Coach just talked about that. He would be great if he was a 6th.
I'm here.
He would be great if he was a 6th or 7th man. But do we really want to pay a 6th or 7th man $20 million a year? That's what we were just talking about. Me and Coach.
I know. I'm here part of the conversation. I just wasn't.
So he's not worth that money being a 6th or a 7th man. We might as well get 2 players for the price of 1.
But that makes sense in a world that if there's a team out there that's willing, say for instance, if the Pelicans were willing to give you Herb Jones and that shooting rookie that they have, or the second year shooter that they have for Josh Hart, that'd have been perfect.
Yeah.
But they're not getting ready to give you Herb Jones, bro.
Okay, say if we ship a Josh Hart out, right? For just some random players, right? We could use that money to sign somebody like Chris Boucher, who's 6'8", can shoot, can defend, long, and he would only offer maybe 10 to 15 million a year.
But he's a free agent though, bro.
That's what I'm saying. We get rid of Josh Hart, free up some cap space.
I know what you're saying. Like at this point,
who's going to burn there?
I'm willing to give up Josh for some draft picks just to clear up the money at this point.
We need players right now. We're trying to win now, not next year, not 2 years now.
Yeah, I think what we're missing in this thing is that what team is gonna let you clear Josh Hart's salary for draft picks or 2 young players or 2 players that you can add to your rotation?
I'm not saying young players. I'm saying serviceable bench players. Serviceable,
right. All players that you can add to your rotation, right?
Think of Josh Hart.
Our team
but you split him up basically. Basically, we get 2 or 3 players for the price of 1 player.
Freezy asked a question. Hold on, let me answer. A team that's number 1. Our team is in a. You said this yesterday. Our team is in a position that 20 other teams wish they were in.
Yep.
Probably 26 other teams. If you talk about the last 4 players, so because our team is that good, Josh doesn't help us as much as that he might help another team bump up a notch. So for a team that's maybe playing around in the play-in,
Exactly.
or on the cusp of being a 4 seed instead of a 5 seed, he might be that extra push for
Glue
them.
guy, exactly. Like I was saying.
For us, he doesn't. He's a player version of Tibbs for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but I know what you're saying exactly. Like, he doesn't have. It's easy for us to say, "Come on, man, trust me. This barbecue I made is the best. You just have to try it." Well, how come no one's buying it? It's like, how come you don't want to keep it there for yourself if it's so good?
Well, we never put him on a trading block. That's why we never tested the market with him.
Well, but the thing, Coach, the thing is, I would like for everybody to realize is Josh Hart has never been this player outside of New York, and you're looking to move him outside of New York. You are looking to sell Josh Hart at his highest value and tell a GM that forget all the other 7 years you saw of Josh Hart. These last few years with the Knicks is what Josh Hart is. And so
that's disingenuous, You know why? Because Randall wasn't the same player before he got to us. And we traded Randall for Karl Anthony Towns, a multi-time All-Star.
Randall's been a lottery pick.
Yeah, but he wasn't the same player before. He wasn't the same player with the Lakers or the Pelicans. Coach, he's not the same. Before he got to the Knicks,
a little bit of a reach.
It's
because Randall was all NBA and made the All-Star team.
Before he got to the Knicks,
team by his peers. Josh Hart has never been selected to anything.
Freezy, wait. I'm saying Randall before he got to the Knicks, he was not a multi-time All-NBA player.
Yeah, but he was 20 and 10 almost, pretty much.
Yeah, but he was not that type of player.
You can't compare.
And we paid him more than anybody else.
Even Hartenstein wasn't that type of player before he got to us. The players could grow.
Yes,
players grew under the Knicks.
Randall ascended when he got handed a team.
Once players grow under the Knicks, their price goes up.
So what do you say when Josh Hart was Portland's franchise player? Why didn't Josh Hart put up all-star numbers then?
He didn't. He doesn't put up all-star numbers now, but he showed glimpses though.
So how do you compare him to?
Because I'm saying, Freezy, listen. Josh Hart
I'm not listening to this, bro. Josh Hart makes sense.
Josh
Hart
doesn't
make
sense, bro. No, Josh Hart has always been a great glue guy.
You gotta talk about something else, bro.
Even when he was in Portland,
bro. This Josh Hart Randall comparison is whack, bro.
I'm not comparing. Oh my God, I'm not comparing them. You're not listening.
You just said Randall. You brought up Julius Randall.
No, you're no. What I'm saying is you're saying, oh, Josh Hart was not this player before he got to the Knicks, and I'm telling you, Julius Randall wasn't the same player before he got to the Knicks. I'm not comparing them as in talent wise. I'm trying to use the same logic that you're using.
Julius is 24.
I'm using the same logic that you're using.
Julius was like 24 years old.
Just because a player is not the same way before they get to the Knicks doesn't mean anything.
That was like 6 years ago.
They're that player now. That's all that matters. Who cares if it was with Portland or the Lakers?
That's 6 years ago.
Player now.
That was 6 years ago.
Julius Randle wasn't the same player before he got to the Knicks when he was at the Lakers and the Pelicans.
But the thing that you're missing, right, is that even when we traded Randall, right, there was a team out there that was willing to take him and another player for a player, right? And the question that I asked in the very beginning is, who is going to take Josh Hart at $20 million and a $20 million bench player that's not a bucket, that's not a defender?
Okay, now here's my answer, right? Here's my answer. On another team, the players around them, he might perfectly fit that team to put them over the hump. So, but they might be an 8th or 9th seed. They might be turned to 7th or 6th
Name a team.
Yeah, I just want you to
just off the top of my head, maybe the Pelicans, maybe.
They're going nowhere.
The Pelicans are the team that traded Josh Hart, bro.
Okay, the Pelicans, you got the Spurs, who are up and coming. You have tons of teams that need a glue guy, like Josh Hart.
Spurs don't need a $20 million glue guy.
The Spurs could use a glue guy. Trust me.
$20 million glue guy.
I would say, yeah. So I think your sentiment is right, like, hey man, can we move Josh Hart to get 2 or 3 guys
Yeah, so the Heat, even the Heat,
fill out the rotation? So even though I like Josh Hart, I can understand where you're going with the conversation. I don't want to trade Josh Hart. But what you're saying to me makes sense in that sense. But the exit strategy of Josh Hart or the completion of your thought to me has me thinking that I can't, that's a bridge too far for me. I can't see a team legitimately trading rotation guys for $20 million worth of rotation guys for Josh Hart.
No, but Freezy, I'm not talking about all-stars. I'm talking about just bench players, good bench players.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about trading for no multi-time all-star. I'm not saying that. I'm saying trading for some serviceable bench players that you think could contribute and help the Knicks. That's it.
And that's why I'm saying that's why I'm trying to get to this point with Fritz. I wanted Fritz to jump in. Fritz, in today's NBA, is an NBA team going to trade away cheap rotation guys, say 2 or 3 of them, maybe one, maybe 2 or 3 rotation guys for Josh Hart in this CBA era?
No, especially not with 2-3 years on his contract.
Yeah.
If he was an expiring contract, they'd line up.
That would be amazing to look at. If he was expiring, then a team that wanted money for next summer would definitely look at, I think, would consider doing it. But not long term, bro.
But another team, what they look at it as, he's holding up our money.
Yeah.
And if you has to be really valuable to us to be holding up our money.
The only way I could see a team even doing that is if they have a terrible expiring contract guy, like a really bad locker room guy, and they just want to get that guy off the roster to prevent one bad apple from spoiling the bunch.
But Freezy,
they would take Josh Hart's contract with the intent on flipping it later, but saving their locker room in the short term.
Freezy, you know, there's a whole bunch of horrible organizations out there that make dumb trades and dumb decisions all the time, like the Wizards, the Jazz, tons of teams that make stupid trades all the time. You don't think no team will bite on that trade?
They make trades that make sense at the time, or they're impulsive. You know who you can get for
the Hornets?
Josh Hart?
Come on, man.
You know you can get for Josh Hart? If you want Grant Williams, you can have Grant Williams.
Oh,
is Grant Williams what you want for Josh Hart?
Grant Williams? I'll take that.
He's a chubby Josh Hart, bro.
If you want Grant Williams and another,
not Grant Williams, but like the Hornets, for instance, right? Bridges on the Hornets. You don't think we could do that?
He makes a lot of money, bro.
How much he make? About the same as Josh Hart, right?
No,
like 28, 25, something like that. Yeah.
25.
He ain't worth that, bro. I'm sorry.
What they
he
want
can shoot,
in return,
man. He can shoot, and he got length.
And I feel you in terms of what you're looking to do. I think I agree. I'm inclined to agree with you on it. Say for instance, the Atlanta Hawks give us the Zachary Resache and 2 of their bench players for Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Right. Say AJ Griffin's contract or whoever it is for Josh Hart. I can okay, I see. Yeah, 3 rotation guys. They really cheap right now, but they'll be expensive in the future. I can see that for Josh Hart, right?
That's what I'm saying, Freezy.
But I don't. But the Atlanta Hawks are not going to trade the number 1 pick in the draft for Josh Hart, bro.
So you don't think they have any fringe players on the bench that have talent that you think they would just
every team is talented, bro. It's about the top end talent. Like every player in the NBA is super talented. The separators are the guys that are at the top of your roster. How talented those guys are. Because if you ask me, I think there's 20 Cameron Paynes in the league right now. Right, all over the place, different names, different heights. They all present the same thing, right? But the thing is the guys at the top of the roster are elite, right? Yeah. That's the thing I'm getting at. Like, if I'm the Knicks, I'm not trading Josh Hart, right? But what I would do is I would consider all my options. Like, I'm not walking into the office saying today is the day I trade Josh Hart. But if somebody comes in and runs the trade by Fritz Alcindor and Fritz Alcindor gives it okay, and Fritz goes to coach and be like, Coach, do you need Anthony Black and Caleb Houston from Orlando for Josh Hart? Hell yeah.
No, but
You don't think?
I'll take Dalton. I'll take Dalton Connect and Jared Vanderbilt.
I was just about to say Dalton Connect. I was just about to say that.
Like Vanderbilt and Connect, right there.
You read my mind, yo.
Right.
I was about to say Connect.
But the thing is, will the Lakers take it?
Nope.
No, the Lakers wouldn't take it because the Lakers are a team that traded Josh Hart.
But they wanted to get rid of Dalton Connect. They wanted to get his ass out of here.
To be honest with you, I think
for Mark Williams,
Josh Hart's the kind of player that blends in with LeBron and Luka's style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hustle, rebounding, take it to the hole. You know, he can fit well with LeBron and Doncic.
Because they're all weird positionless players and stuff.
Exactly.
They got a weird thing going over there.
I disagree so bad on this one, but I understand what Coach is saying.
Bro, I'm trying to just make it look good. I don't know.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine the first time Luka and LeBron run a high IQ play and Josh Hart is wide open on the wing for three and they kick it to him and he don't pass it?
LeBron's gonna take him out the game.
Yeah.
LeBron's like,
did you mess up the play, but you messed up their stats too?
LeBron's like, you already gave me J.R. Smith to how to deal with this crap. Now I got to deal with Josh Hart.
Or even somebody like to the Nuggets for somebody like, I don't know, Aaron Gordon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, that dude, he makes way too much money.
How much money he make? What?
Well, Reese, let me ask you this. Let me ask you the coach. I'm sorry, Coach. I just want to ask Reese this question here since I got Reese here. Since Reese is up here kicking it with us, just want to take advantage of this time a little bit. Reese, you're talking about trading Josh Hart, but listen, tell us what it is exactly you're looking to get. The reason why Josh Hart is even a part of this conversation.
Okay.
What are you trying to put on the bench?
I'm trying to put somebody with more length, who's a better defender, and is a more consistent scorer, shooter. Shooter specifically, because Josh Hart, he can't shoot in the Pacific Ocean. Like he can't make a bucket for if his life depended on it. You know what I'm saying? So somebody who's a better shooter who offers
so how do we
length,
sell that to another team then?
No, but the thing is, Josh Hart, he has the intangibles that can make up for it. For a certain team, they might overlook those things because of his intangibles. But for us, it doesn't fit. He doesn't fit well with the roster we have right now. It doesn't fit. He fit when we had Randall and Barrett, but right now with Mikal and OG and Towns, he don't fit. So we have to cut our losses and try to recoup and get somebody other pieces for him.
We'd have to just take on the idea of, look, we can boost up Josh all we want, but we're not going to get the value we hope for.
He's worth more to us than someone else.
So
basically, that's where we are with it.
We're going to have to see Josh Hart, losing him in a trade or whatever, as more of a contract dump, as actually getting something of high value in return.
Hey, but it's what's it called? Addition by subtraction, though. Because if we got rid of him, we could sign somebody like Chris Boucher.
You can't. Still can't.
If we
had only made $10 million last year, so
if he had an expiring contract, he'd be.
He's a free agent. He's a free agent.
No, I'm talking about Josh.
Oh, Josh Hart. Okay.
If he had an expiring contract, he'd be a lot easier to trade.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fritz.
No, so since he does have 2+1, next year you could trade Josh Hart, and then there'll be a line of people
next year.
For Josh
we have
Hart.
now this year.
I know, but you have to wait a year, basically. Well,
we've been waiting long enough.
So most likely the situation where you can trade him is one of these big trades happen, and players are going all over the place, and someone has four power forwards. Perhaps then they may want to give you something for Josh Hart, because they're imbalanced. That's when you get rid of them.
Are you really trying to tell me one of these bottom of the barrel teams like the Wizards, the Hornets, the Jazz, the Pelicans,
why would they want Josh Hart?
You really trying to tell me that?
But if you're a bad team, why would you want Josh Hart?
Because they're bad teams. They're bad teams for a reason. They make stupid trades and stupid decisions all the time.
Okay, bad teams. You know what they want? They want
the
young
Wizards
players.
Been bad for the last 25 years, 30 years.
They want young players who can grow into something, or star players.
Or draft picks.
That's all they want. They don't want nothing in the middle. They want either you're a star player or You're young, cheap labor who's going to get better. That's all they want.
I don't know, man. I think a team would pull the trigger though. For Josh Hart, I think a team will pull the trigger.
They gotta
Even
be
if
a
it's
good
stupid,
team.
even if it's dumb, I think a team out there would pull the trigger for Josh Hart.
The right situation. The right situation.
Yeah,
It has
like
to
he's
be-
so unmovable. Like, no, I don't think so.
Hey, I have a trade for you, and this is crazy. It's gonna make you laugh.
Mhm.
Would you trade Josh Hart to the Washington Wizards for Marcus Smart and Jalen Martin? And this is on. I'm only asking Reese for Marcus Smart and Jalen Martin.
Look, I'm not too familiar with Jalen Martin, but can Jalen Martin shoot?
Hey, coach, don't give it away. Fritz, don't.
I'm not
give
too
this
familiar
away.
with Jalen Martin. I know Marcus Smart, but can Jalen Martin shoot? Can he shoot at least better than Josh Hart?
Don't give it. Let him answer. Reese, go ahead.
He's on a
No, but I gotta know.
You said you would do it.
Is Jalen Hart at least a better shooter than Josh Hart? Yes or no?
So wait. I'm not answering the question because
I know what Marcus Smart can do. Marcus Smart, one of the best defenders in the NBA once upon a time, but I'm not too familiar with Jalen Martin.
You don't know who Jalen Martin is?
Is he the light skinned dude? Like,
come on, dog. I mean, the NBA. The
he's
NBA
young.
got
like the Klay Thompson looking dude.
He's really young.
I'm not too familiar with him, but I know Marcus Smart.
He was with the Knicks.
Damn, coach, coach, come on, man. You can't.
I just gave him that little hint. That's all.
Can I look at his stats real quick? Can I look at his stats real quick and get back to you?
I didn't tell him nothing.
Yeah, never mind, bro. Reese, never mind. The coach done ruined it now, man.
How?
All I said was, Coach, this is not for you. Can we just have this be for Reese? Coach just had to jump in and spoil it.
My bad, bro. I was just trying to help him out a little bit. I felt like he was drowning. I was trying to save him.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what I was going to get to is people have a lot of Knicks fans have this thing against Josh Hart that they legit would accept anything to get him out of here. Even a recycled Knicks training camp guy that never played in summer league, they would take anything to get rid of Josh, right? Instead of saying, "Hey, listen,
hell no,
how about let's wait till we get a new coach and see what the coach wants to do." Because maybe the new coach is going to play Josh Hart like Draymond Green offensively. And what that does is it creates open spot up looks for Cat.
But Draymond Green like 6'7". It's not the same. With long arms.
But you don't have to be 6'7" to play out of the pinch post, bro. The pinch post is the pinch post. It's a spot on the floor.
No, but Draymond Green, the reason he's so good, even though he's only 6'5", 6'6", he has like a 7'2" wingspan.
Right.
So his defense is impeccable. He can rebound. He can shoot. He can shoot better than Josh Hart. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the same. You can't compare him to and say, "Oh, Josh Hart could do the same thing Draymond Green could do." No,
but Draymond Green didn't invent the pinch post, bro. Paul Pressey played out the pinch post, and he's the same size as Josh Hart.
Are we gonna give Josh a bunch of neuro gum?
I don't buy it. I think Josh Hart. In a perfect world,
because we got to get his brain right, bro.
In a perfect world, I want to keep Josh Hart, but it's not worth keeping a bench player, the 6th or 7th man, that's making $20 million a year. It's not worth it.
Or you can get a coach that utilizes everyone to their best abilities, right? Move Deuce off the point. Deuce, you're not a point guard anymore, right? Deuce, you're officially a scorer defender, right? You're not a point guard. Bring in a point guard, right? To play along with Deuce.
Or develop Tyler Kolek. We're gonna give you some minutes. See what you do.
Yeah, bring in Tyus Jones. That's what I'm clamoring for. Tyus Jones. We need Tyus Jones.
We tried last year.
Yeah,
he's a free agent this year. We need Tyus Jones. He's a free agent.
He turned down more money from the Knicks.
Tyus Jones wants more of a role than
he wants to be a starter.
He'll be the backup to Jalen Brunson. Whenever Jalen Brunson's on the bench, he'll be.
He turned that down.
That means he won't be in the game at the end.
No, but we're gonna have a different coach. We're gonna have a different coach that's gonna play more of the bench.
He turned down $5 million last year from the Knicks.
Remember, Coach, Tibbs is gone. We don't got to worry about not playing the bench no more.
But who are you gonna play Tyus Jones with Brunson the last 5 minutes of the game?
No, Tyus a backup point guard. He's a backup point guard.
Tyus doesn't think so.
Tyus thinks he's a starter.
Yeah, he thinks he's a starter.
He took $2 million rather than backup for the Knicks at $5 million.
Yeah, and kudos to him too, by the way, for standing his ground.
Man.
Because I think
Tyus
Tyus Jones is ranked somewhere between the 25th and 35th best point guard in the NBA. And kudos for him for thinking he's the 25th best. The Knicks thought he was probably the 35th best.
Yeah. So he'll take a contract quick this year, but it'll be more than the $2 million we can offer him.
The only thing I'm willing to
but you don't think for a chance to win a championship, you don't think he'll take a backup role?
No, why not just go get Scottie Pippen Jr., who's already in a backup role?
He already turned it down.
Huh?
He already turned it down.
Why last you can't compare last year. It was a new year. It's a new year.
Tyus Jones turned it down last year from us.
Oh man, we ain't talking about
Tyus Jones last year, man. It's a new year.
About Scottie Pippen Jr. now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they like him in Memphis.
Yeah, they
like him
Pippen Jr.
And realistically, what team is going to make Tyus Jones a starter?
This is why we tie the conversation together, because a few moments ago you said what teams legitimately are going to trade for Josh Hart, and you said tanking teams, right?
Okay.
And we was like, tanking teams, why would? And then you just now said, and I'm not putting you on the spot, I'm just saying the conversation is the thing that we're trying to follow. So you just now said,
so do you think Tyus Jones would rather be a starter on
Tyus Jones?
Do you think Tyus Jones would rather be a starter on the Wizards and win 17 games, or be a backup on the Knicks and fight for a championship?
Fritz, you want to answer this one again?
Who pays most?
Okay,
a starter.
What was he paying $5-6 million? That's worth it.
He turned down $5-6 million last year.
On the Suns, who sucked.
I know, so that he can make more money this year.
Yeah.
So how much money do you think Tyus Jones is gonna ask for it? What? 15 million?
He's gonna ask for 15. Somebody's gonna give him something in between.
He could even stay healthy the whole year, man.
You know what? I would consider Markelle Fultz.
Oh hell, no.
A bigger athletic guard. Now he's not going to shoot worth nothing, but his defense has been incredible.
The one who can't stay healthy, was always injured. Nah, man.
I mean, but what other value are you going to get? Because think about it. If he could do all those things at a high level, would you be able to afford him?
Yeah, but he can't stay on the court. He can never stay healthy.
Right. But if he could do, I'm gonna show you his stuff. And
that's why someone like him is that those are the kind of guys that, whether we like to admit it or not, Josh has shortcomings. He has, if Josh had nothing wrong with him and was enticing for other teams, we'd keep him. So
his contract is too rich.
We have to expect to get another guy that has a flaw too. Like, so we can't expect the perfect, Giannis for Hart. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't, I know that's an extreme example, but like, you can't expect we're going to get our perfect piece for us and someone's going to take on our problem for us so we can get a piece that's going to help us.
No, but the thing is, Coach, Josh Hart is a great player, though. He's a great player. He just doesn't fit with us.
That's not what that's not what we're arguing here.
So you don't think other teams will like a great player on their team?
The thing we're arguing and debating about is what you feel he's worth to other teams.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to sell us on something we're on the same page with you. Like, his worth to us is way more than what his worth is to other teams.
No, but how do you know that? How do you know that, Coach?
Because I've watched him the last 3 years, 2.5 years.
We never put Josh Hart up for sale, so we can't even say that for a surety. Like, we don't know how much Josh Hart is worth to other teams.
I know because I've been a fan of the. I'm 50 years old. I know what players are worth. I've been watching.
I think we do know what Josh Hart's worth is because we traded for him. Yeah, we know what his worth is. We traded for him. That's how we know what his worth is. 2 years ago.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Freezy, that's the perfect example. How did we get Josh Hart?
We traded.
We traded a guy we didn't want.
What did we trade? What was the trade?
Cam.
Tell me the exact trade.
It was a Cam and a first-round pick.
And a first-round pick, right?
What's Cam doing right now?
So we gave a first-round pick for him.
Listen, Cam's younger, way younger than Josh. He ain't even playing.
And you know how much Josh was making then? Josh was making $12 million.
Yeah.
So,
Josh is way
But that's
cheaper.
not like.
so what's his worth now?
So you don't think a player could like open people's eyes in a span of 2 years? The way
No,
he's
that's
been
not.
playing, the way he's been
Again,
playing, you don't think that changes the perception of him throughout
again,
the
that's
league?
not. Again, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying about Josh is I don't even care. I just care about your original point. Your original point was improving the bench. That was your original point, right?
Mhm.
Right. Getting 2 or 3 guys for Josh and improving the bench depth. Right. I don't care if a team takes draft picks for Josh, or I'm sorry, teams give us draft picks for Josh or players for Josh or whatever. I'm a fan of Josh and I don't want to trade him. But to the point that you made, I agree that we do need consistent, sustainable offense and defense from our bench players. And how we get that, if it means Josh Hart has to go out, if it means the Toronto Raptors is the team that you're mentioning that falls for the Josh Hart thing, then so be it. The only thing is we can't do that and sign Chris Boucher because we got to take in $20 million. And Chris Boucher is going to be somewhere projected in the neighborhood of somewhere between 10 and $20 million. Right. And so the Knicks just are not just going to not going to have that money.
Okay. Well, Precious is off the books, right? Precious is off the books.
Yeah.
Payne is off the books.
We already accounted for that.
Yeah.
Huh?
We already counted for that.
Right. So that's maybe what, $8 million right there.
No, we don't. We still don't have money.
Oh, still.
Cats.
We just fucked, huh? My bad. We just messed up, huh?
No, it's just we have a problem. A lot of teams wish they had. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we have money tied in the guys that are worth their money. Okay. Period.
But the problem is, do they all fit with each other though? That's the problem. Do they fit?
I think we fit pretty good. We got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
And you don't know who the new coach is.
With a coach that didn't maximize their 100% talent, if you ask me. And we still made it to the finals. That's how good we are. So
yeah, but what we're gonna do about our bench though?
That's what we're talking about.
We're gonna take your advice about trying to find the perfect situation to get 2 or 3 guys on a cheap contract that fill certain roles and do those roles consistently, and they stay healthy and they're cheap.
Yep.
We're gonna get Jonathan Isaac.
Oh hell no!
Why not?
Another one that can't stay healthy.
Well, he
stayed healthy the last couple of years.
Stayed healthy last 2 years.
Yeah, and they have him on a really strict minutes restriction. And the other thing too is the Jonathan Isaac thing in New York. I think he plays more minutes and stays healthier because you can't compare medical staffs between all medical staffs on NBA teams are not equal. And there was a time where Paolo, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, and all those dudes were injured, right? And then to say, well, Jonathan Isaac can't stay healthy, maybe it's a team thing.
Yeah,
the guys on the team can't stay healthy, right? And so I would consider that. Like I would consider all avenues when it comes to that. OG Anunoby and Cat have been the healthiest they've been in years. Mitchell Robinson has been the healthiest he's been in years. Think about this. Mitchell Robinson actually finished an NBA season.
Yeah.
Something to consider. Now, but you know what? Here's thing I'll ask you, Reese. Instead of trading Josh, why not just trade PJ Tucker?
PJ Tucker? Is he even on the contract?
Yeah, he's on a 2-year deal, 1+1.
For what? What are we gonna get for PJ Tucker, who's 40 years old? What? Come on now.
Clearly,
be a salary dump.
see, but here's the thing. Clearly, PJ Tucker is worth something because he has a contract.
I don't know who you can get for him. I really don't know. Can't tell you. He's basically like a mascot at this point.
It's a flexibility contract. We can cancel it.
Taj Gibson's actually played again after we got rid of. If Taj Gibson can still play somewhere,
yeah. I don't expect PJ Tucker to And they're gonna, unless they're just keeping that option open if they need to use him in a trade. That's the only reason he's gonna be there. That's it. If not, they're gonna cancel his contract.
Okay. Man, they killing Mitch in the. Mitch missed the majority of it. So what, bro? He was healthy in the playoffs. That means Mitch played 48 consecutive games. When's the last time Mitch Robinson played 48 consecutive games?
Yeah. The one person on this team, like Mitch's value is higher than Josh's.
Right now,
For sure.
Because Mitchell Robinson is a better player than Josh.
He's an elite rim protection. And you know the Lakers, what Lakers paid for an okay rim protector and Mark Williams. Like Josh is more valuable.
Here's another question though. Are y'all open to trading Mitch?
No.
I
think we gotta relax, bro. I think we gotta chill.
I mean, I'm willing to keep him because he proved to me his worth because he stayed healthy when he finally did play, and he's earned another year for me. As far as I want to see that he can play 25 minutes a game for a whole season.
Yeah,
I think he's starting center.
Yeah, you don't trade Mitchell Robinson unless it's a game-changing trade. Unless you're trading, unless it's gonna be a big difference, you're not gonna trade in him unless it's
he has to be the add-on that they won't, like the DiVincenzo part of a trade that the other team will. If you don't throw in Mitch, we ain't doing it.
Yeah, and whoever's come back, it has to be like a borderline all-star. Like it's not just Mitch, but it has to be someone who's near all-star level.
The only thing with Mitch, though, I know he stayed healthy the second half when he came back during the playoffs.
Dude, hey, Reese, we can't hear you.
Your mic's like underwater.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, Mitch's value, I still like. I think in certain games he starts depending on the team and the matchup. Like when we play Cleveland and teams that have two bigs. Sometimes.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yeah. That's perfect.
But like, I think Mitch's value is more on the bench, but we definitely should get a 4. We need to get a stretch 4 type guy on the team that when Mitch comes in and Cat's taking a break, we need our 4 to be a guy that's a scorer and can get buckets. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't have Mitch and Hart, off the bench together with only 2 or 3 shooters.
But the thing was Mitch, right? I know we stayed healthy throughout the playoffs, right? I get that. But can we trust him to stay healthy for the majority of a full season?
Hey, can you trust Jalen Brunson to stay healthy the majority of the season?
I mean, Jalen, he's going to at least give you 65 games at least. So I can depend on that.
The reason why I say that is because
can he at least play 50 games at least? Mitch?
Every NBA player is one stepped on foot away from missing a week.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Everybody.
Everybody
is just like one bodies everywhere type injury away from missing time. The thing with Mitch is Mitchell Robinson needed to be in a certain type of shape, and the Knicks didn't bring him back until they knew he was in that shape. Yeah. And when Mitch came back, he came back like an animal.
Yeah.
So you saying because he lost weight, he should be healthy now because he lost weight?
I know they knew something about Mitch that we didn't know. They knew something about Mitch that Mitch probably didn't know. And they held Mitch to a certain standard. And they was like, hey, man, if you don't meet this certain standard, we know what you could be potentially. And you're not coming back until you meet that standard. And Mitch met that standard and came back and balled out.
I sure hope you're right because he's a great player. I would love to keep him, but I sure hope you're right.
Yeah. I personally don't expect him to be here. But if okay, let's put it this way. If Mitch is here the second week of July, he's staying. but I don't expect him to be here second week of July.
I just want to see him at least play 50 games. That's what I want to see. At least play 50 games, at least. You know, if he can get past 50 games, then I'll be
Coach,
confident.
what you put in the chat? What is that?
People were curious about
what is this in it?
Mitch's injuries. It's a date and an illness and all his injuries and the dates. People were curious about how many times he was injured.
Who's curious? Not us.
I was curious, so I was curious to see it myself too. Sorry, I didn't know it.
Yeah, it came across like, yo, I didn't know what it looked like. Computer code when I first saw it.
No, it's just dates and injuries. That's all. Since he's been in the league. Yep, I have Mitch Yak.
Yeah. So you.
Yep, I got baited.
Yeah. If I think if he makes it to the second week of July, he'll be here. He's eligible for extension, and the Knicks, if they're gonna keep him, they'll extend him. They'll extend him like ASAP.
One thing's for sure though, he has to start. Mitch, Carl, he can't start at the 5 no more. He has to be the 4.
I don't.
He can't be the 5 no more because he's terrible. He's terrible as a paint defender. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't work.
Who is a terrible paint defender? I'm sorry.
Towns.
Can't.
So he can't be the starting 5 this next year. He can't.
What?
I don't think he could be the starter 5 next year.
Oh God! Now you're
he's
really
terrible.
losing me.
What?
Yeah.
Did you see?
Now you're really losing me, bro.
Towns was a turnstile in the paint. He cannot play the 5. He's a terrible defender in the paint. I'm sorry.
How's Jokic defending in the paint?
Said how's Jokic? I don't know about Jokic. All I can tell you is about Towns. Jokic is not on the Knicks. Towns was terrible last year as a paint defender. He was a turnstile.
Okay. All right. I can see
it was
that.
A turnstile, bro. Are you serious? Did you watch the games before Mitch came back?
But Reese, one of the things that's unfair to the Cat argument, and I'm not the biggest Cat fan, but I have played basketball, right? What we're asking from Cat is to be an archetype of a basketball player that doesn't exist. We're saying, hey, man, not only do we want you to be Mutombo, but we also want you to be Reggie Miller at the same time.
I'm saying
that's what we're asking.
It's not possible, Freezy. That's what I'm saying.
Is that because that archetype doesn't exist?
Move him to the 4 and not the 5. That's what I'm saying, Freezy. He doesn't have to be. Just don't be the 5. That's it.
Just because he moves to the 4 doesn't mean he's going to stop being 7 foot.
No, but I'm saying he's not going to be the main paint defender. Mitch is going to be. You get what I'm saying?
I understand that. I understand that what you're saying.
When he was in Minnesota, Gobert was the 5. He was the main paint defender.
Right. I understand what you're saying. But the thing that we're saying is teams that use that archetype, I need a Mutombo in the paint, they're not winning championships. They're not. In the modern NBA, you need 6 to 7 guys on your roster that can dribble, pass, shoot, switch. That's what you need because point guards are bigger, right? Centers are faster, right? Some of the positions that y'all constantly say on the thing, they don't even exist anymore. Like I hear people say power forward to death. And then when I ask you, what does a power forward do in today's NBA? Nobody can explain it. It's because they don't exist anymore.
Yep.
The power forward was a smaller version of your center that could be your weak side rim protection. When your center was drawn away in a play, he rebounded heavily and could hit mid-range shots.
Yeah.
Dudes
Tim Duncan's, the Kevin Garnett's.
Power forwards. You don't see dudes out here 15 points and 13 rebounds and 2 blocks no more. They don't exist.
Right.
Wings exist. We're in a wing world. Where
so are you saying keep Towns at the 5? That's what you're saying?
No. What I'm saying is you have to trust the coach's defensive philosophy. Because what if the next guy you hire does 30% zone?
Mm-hmm.
Like zone defense is not even a concept in our mind because Tibbs never ran it.
Exactly.
Right.
But what if the next coach comes in and he does zone defense 25% of his defensive possessions? What if he traps 10% of his defensive possessions? Now the guy that you spent the money on at that, you're using him less, but now you're paying him more. And now, mind you, I think Mitchell Robinson can play in any defense, right? I think Mitch can play in any defense, right? But what I'm saying is some of our thinking is obsolete because of the way that the guy that was here for 5 years coached this team. Not saying that he coached it in a bad way, but he coached it his way.
Right.
Right? For instance, I hear people talking about trading Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Right? Why are you going to trade? Why are you looking to trade those two when you hadn't seen them in active slashing back actions off the ball? You trade them away for shooters and then realize you need OG Anunoby. What are we doing? We can't do that just because Tibbs.
So why didn't Tibbs implement any of that? Then why didn't he do that?
I don't need. You know what? I can ask a
call him and ask him.
Why is Tibbs drinking coffee right now? I don't know. What I'm saying is,
I guess that's why he's fired, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the body of evidence is the body of proof in this case.
Right.
The evidence is there. That's the proof we need. Tibbs didn't use OG and Mikal Bridges as offensive slashers. Right? He didn't do that. Like when you were mentioning, when you said Jalen Brunson, and that's one of the things, that's why I was trying to slow you down. When you were saying Jalen Brunson is getting smothered up top every time he touched the ball, trying to bring the ball down the floor. You know why that is? There are no shooters and slashes on the backside of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can have Aaron Nesmith guard Jalen Brunson, because you can take a small guard and put him on OG because OG is spotted up.
Exactly. That shouldn't happen. In a modern NBA, that should not happen.
That should not happen. That's the reason why I'm saying, like, we have a bunch of questions. What we should think about is not what our answers are, but where we are getting our answers from.
Right.
Right? Like, if we're getting our answer from what Tom Thibodeau's offense looked like, you're like, legit, why are we doing this? And then we're looking at Tom Thibodeau's offense. That's not the way we should be looking. The answer to that question is what you mentioned. That's why I was trying to slow you down and get to that point, is a more modern offense.
Right.
Right? So, because we can complain about stuff till the cows come home, right? And then use Tom Thibodeau as the example when it's not the example. It's the exception. That guy did this. It didn't work. We moved on from it. The next guy we get should do this, like you mentioned. And then every aspect of that answers all the questions that you have, right? So, like, why would we bring in Mike Malone instead of Tibbs? Well, Mike Malone is just like Tibbs. Nah, Mike Malone is not just like Tibbs. Did you see what he did with Jokic and Jurkic?
And Murray. Don't forget Murray.
Yeah, and Murray and all these guys. Offensively.
Gordon, Porter.
Right. This had nothing to do with altitude. This had to do with skill.
Right. Scheming.
Right. People are like, man, in Denver, man, they can play a tempo because in Denver you can. Nah, did you see Jamal Murray and Jokic body type? Do they look like they're shredded?
And very similar to Brunson and Towns. Very similar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why some of the answers that we have, we can't get it from the Tom Thibodeau coaching era. We have to get it from the modern NBA play style, right? And so, like, that's why when we argue some over certain stuff, like, man, trade Josh Hart, trade Josh. I'm like, hey, relax. Let's hire a coach to see if Josh Hart fits. And if Josh Hart looks like he's a clear non-fit, then I'm like, okay, we got to get something for Josh. Josh knows he's going to be traded.
Hey, at the deadline, at least.
Right. And here's the other thing, the other caveat with Cat. To back up Freezy's argument about, the things that don't exist. A player of Karl Anthony's talent offensively, other fives in the league that average what he averages or right around what he averages, he has a better defensive rating than all of them.
Yeah.
Like Bam hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo has the same defensive rating because this just shows you it's about a team defense and not just about individual paint defense. Bam Adebayo has the same defensive rating as Cat. Jokic has a worse defensive rating than Cat. Jaren Jackson has a worse defensive rating than Cat, believe it or not. Vucevic, Sabonis has the worst. Miles Turner has a worse defensive rating. Brook Lopez, all these scoring bigs that I'm naming have worse defensive ratings than Cat.
I don't know, just watching the games though, even against the Wizards. Against the Wizards and the Hawks,
we have like
he would always get abused.
But we have to get away from that thing. Like, this happens to us as fans all the time. Fans watch something that annoys them a lot about a player, and every time they do that thing wrong, they think it's something they do all the time. They used to do that with Randall all the time. When Randall lost his cool and slammed a laptop, oh, he's messed. Then they looked for it every time he did something wrong. Mm-hmm. So every time Cat doesn't close out, he doesn't get back in time. When someone already has it in their head, they're tired of him. They micromanage the whole thing and complain every time.
Just blow it out of proportion.
And they talk like it's something he always does. Mm. And I'll be honest with you, I've gotten that way with Mitch. I'll admit it. The last 3 or 4 years, I've gotten tired of not counting on him because of his injuries. So every time he's huffing and puffing or makes mistakes, I'm tougher on him than other people because I'm tired of waiting on him. I'm guilty of that. I'll admit it. I'm proud and happy he made a liar out of me this playoffs. I hope he keeps making me a liar. Now I'm shifting my new you're on the clock stuff back to Deuce now. Like that, he's my next victim per se. Like Deuce, you got to step up, bro. We're giving you a chance. You're like Deuce and Josh Hart are my new hot seat guys. Personally,
what the player on the bench that I'm really excited for, like other than Kolek and Dadier and all of them, is McCullough. I'm excited for him. He was a two-way player in college.
Yeah, On the topic, on the point that you were making about the players that would move because of philosophy and stuff that you saw on the floor, I think that's a great topic. The only thing I would say is we need to think about these things in more context, right? Like Jalen Brunson getting smothered. If Jalen Brunson has a 6'8" wing defender on him, then where is the more naturally sized defender that should be guarding Jalen Brunson? Where's that guy at? Where's Andrew Nembhard? Oh, okay. He's guarding OG Anunoby in the corner. And so what does that tell you? That tells you OG Anunoby is not a threat offensively. Right. And then what is when you look at OG Anunoby's career stats, you're like, wait a minute. That's not true. OG Anunoby over the years have put up these type of such and such numbers. So then if there's a conflict there, you're thinking like, okay, if OG Anunoby can score a little bit moderately, right, then why is he not a threat in the Knicks offense? It's the coach's philosophy. Right? It's the coach's philosophy. So if it's the coach's philosophy and you no longer have that coach, that steers the conversation to the new coach should be able to take advantage of such and such and such. That's just where we are with it. So if Kelly Oubre is guarding Jalen Brunson, then who is Tyrese Maxey guarding?
Exactly. So you would say Mike Malone, he's the best fit for the job? And anybody
No,
else?
I never said that.
Like who do you think will be the best fit to take us over the hump?
I don't know.
Implement all those things that you're talking about.
I don't know. Yeah. All those things that you mentioned are not all my sensibilities. Like my to me, a head coach has to be a outstanding leader of men. That's what I'm looking for first.
Mm.
You got to be a great leader because I don't want a mad scientist that's clumsy in the media and hurting feelings in the locker room. You're great. Your offensive, you're Mike D'Antoni. Man, my offensive system is top notch, and then you saying clumsy stuff in the media, disrespecting players, and not a locker room trying to turn on you. I don't want a guy like that.
If you ask me, I want somebody like Mark Jackson, New York bred, played for the Knicks. He has invested. He's invested into the city. You know what I'm saying? He's from New York City. He's a New Yorker through and through. You know, so I want somebody like Mark Jackson.
How come I haven't seen Mark Jackson at any of the?
Do you know why? Because it was quote unquote, homophobic slurs, I guess, that they said he supposedly said when he was the Warriors coach. And that kind of blacklisted.
No, he's talking about the Knicks alumni.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Like that, to me, that part of him being an ex-Knick is the only part that.
Didn't he go to St. John's as well?
But to me, I think if we're gonna bring a guy from within who's been here before, like Johnny Bryant, this guy, like as far as rehashing somebody we've had in the organization, either as a player or ex-coach or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard little murmurs about, Van Gundy still coaches. I think he's on the bench with the Clippers right now.
Patrick Ewing. I don't know about that, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Ewing because he's been trying this coaching thing for a while and hasn't been panning out. Like he hasn't really been getting jobs. Like the Georgetown thing kind of fizzled on him.
See, the thing about Pat Ewing is a great game manager, right? And he's a great teacher. Mm-hmm. Pat Ewing is a terrible recruiter.
Yeah.
In college, you don't have to be a great X's and O's guy. You could just be a great recruiter, like Ron Zook. Coach, you remember Ron Zook?
Yeah,
bro. You could be a guy like Ron Zook, and and your play is let's go get him. That's your next play. Yeah. If you Ron Zook, but if you can sit down in the living room and sweet talk somebody mama into making you commit to 4 years, Ron Zook is that guy. Barry Switzer.
Yeah. I'd love to have Pat as one of our assistants for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Imagine him working with Cat and Mitch
on the sidelines
and Huck Porty.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can do that without being an assistant, though, right?
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. So to answer your question, great leader of men, right? A great in-game manager, awareness. You got to have situational awareness.
Versatile,
right?
And make decisions on the fly, something Tibbs could not do.
Right. And so the preparation thing I think is important, but not as important as knowing the moment, having a sense for the moment.
Right.
Like knowing what question to ask, knowing when to step back, knowing who to challenge, knowing who to let develop. Right. You gotta have, as a leader, you gotta have all of these things, like being a guy that's just gonna say it's my way or the highway is good sometimes as the grand guardrail, right? But all the mini guardrails, man, you gotta understand people, all of that stuff. So if you're asking me who the perfect coach is, it's got to be that person that's a great leader, great game manager, situational awareness, developer, all these things all at once, because every player is their own individual corporation. So when I talk to OG Anunoby, I'm not going to talk to OG Anunoby like I'm talking to all the wing players. All the wing players, come here. Nah, it ain't that. I'm going to talk to OG like an athletic wing with experience, nuance, maybe potentially the best defender in the league if he stays healthy, right? You got to talk to OG like, hey, OG, this is our grand goal, right? This is our medium-term goal, but tonight your goal is this, right? OG, I ain't gonna talk to you no more. LG be like, I don't need you to talk. I don't need for you to be on my back. But then when I talk to Pacom Dadier, right, I'm like, hey, kid, listen, if you want these minutes, this is what you got to do. And if I don't see it, you not getting any minutes, right? And I'm not going to consider this until you have shown me that I can trust you with this role. And then you give him this role, right? We anytime we're up 20, We're up 20. We need to get these vets off their feet, right? You're going to come in and you're going to be a knockdown corner three guy. You better not shoot that three unless it's from the corner. And you're going to be the primary on-ball defender, regardless who it is. I don't care if it's Tyrese Maxey or Jokic. Your job is to guard them when we're up 20. And what that does is, it gives him an unreasonable expectation, right?
Yeah, he gets
but
experience.
What it does is when you incorporate him in the rotations and the other coach decides to run offense that makes us switch, this guy having the experience to have guarded 6'1" guys and 7'1" guys give us the ability to have him switch and trust our defense.
Exactly. And that's what they was missing throughout the season. They never had that in-game experience, except maybe for the last 20 seconds. You know what I'm saying? That's no good.
Right.
You need consistent experience, consistent game, real game experience in order for them to develop. You know, and that's why I think somebody like maybe Johnny Bryant, it would probably be the best option because he's a great developer.
But here's the thing: when have you ever seen Johnny Bryant lead a team in that way that you just mentioned?
Well, we haven't. He'll be an experiment. You know, he'll be an experiment.
Are you willing to hand the reins over to an Eastern Conference finalist to a rookie head coach?
Well, I don't know. That might be a gamble we might have to make. You know.
You feel me? Like,
it might have to be a gamble.
Like
we might have to
everybody, like people tell me all the time, like, yo, man, I be watching Lawrence Tears, man, and I was just thinking about jumping up on the panel because of such and such and such. And then when you get on the panel, you realize being on the panel is different.
Yeah, because look at Steve Curry. He was never a coach before he coached the Warriors. Yeah. And look what he did his first year. He won 60-something games.
Yeah.
Won a championship in 2 years. Like, come on. So sometimes you can strike gold with somebody that, you know what I'm saying, never had the experience. He might be that new voice, a new fresh voice that we need. And he's familiar. He's familiar with the team, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, I don't know. I think it's him, Mike Malone, Mark Jackson, and Taylor Jenkins. Those are my 4 options right there.
I would say this. Whoever Leon Rose selects, I'm going to trust that he picked the right person.
He better.
Because Leon Rose has 6 off seasons of improving the Knicks. And just by him letting go of Tom Thibodeau has proven to the Knicks that man is willing to do whatever it takes for this team to be a champion. Right? So whoever he picks, I'm not going to be mad unless it's Jeff Van Gundy, but anybody else, I'll be like, you know what? They sat down in the room, they interviewed this person, they interviewed a bunch of candidates and whatever, and they picked the person they felt like is best.
You also got, what's that guy's name? Mark Brown as well. Don't forget about him. So.
Mike Brown?
Yeah, Mike Brown. Yeah,
Mike Brown. Yeah. I whoever the chat is gonna have their favorites on who they think is gonna be best. And if whoever they hire, I'll be fine with it, except for Van Gundy. So if they hire Johnny Bryant, I'm okay with it. I'm a Johnny Bryant fan. Right there, but mind you, every coach that takes a job are going to have some questions. Some questions about their defensive flexibility. Some coaches about their NBA head coaching experience. Some questions about how they manage a roster. Some questions about their playoff experience. And so every coach is going to have, every coaching candidate is going to have some questions. Whoever the Knicks pick, man, outside of a couple of guys, I'm like, hey, man, it don't matter, because at some point we have to trust management. I don't always trust management, but in this case, at some point, you got to see where you came from and see where you are, and then look at the decision maker to see if he made, for the most part, makes all of the right decisions in terms of the direction of your team and the progress your franchise is making.
Hey, this is my last comment, and then I'm out for the night. I don't know if the Knicks made a right coach decision, the first 5 games. When you look at their offense and see how it operates the first 5 games, then we'll know. Because if the offense looks exactly the same like it did last year under Tibbs, then we'll know nothing really changed much. But if we see it and it's looked totally different, then we'll know we're going in the right direction with the coach.
Okay.
So that's the only time I would know we made a better decision with the coach.
It takes more than 5 games.
Yeah, but you could automatically see how the flow of the offense is.
I mean, we look like the top 2-3 offenses in the league for the first half of the year.
Yeah. And what I would also say too is be mindful that if you get the personnel change that you wanted, that it's going to take the Knicks some time to adjust with the personnel, especially if they make a trade late in the offseason like they did with Cat.
Yeah. I'm saying barring like a major trade like the Cat trade, if it just all stayed the same with just a couple of bench pieces, then you would just look at the offense and see if it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Understood. Yep.
But if we made like a big ass trade and got maybe, I don't know, Giannis, some crazy player like that, then obviously it would be a different situation. But if we kept the same core, then we would have to look at the offense to see if it moves different, if the flow is different, if there's more spacing, more Brunson Towns 2-man game. You know what I'm saying? More cutting. We have to look at those things to see if the offense runs differently under the new coach, and that's when we'll know if we're moving in the right direction or not. So,
right.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. But it's been good chopping up with y'all. Probably see y'all next time. I'm about to head to sleep. You know.
Yeah,
all
man.
Right,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I gotta get out of here too, man. I gotta be on these
man.
phones at 8 o'clock, man. I mean, I be half sleep on these phones, man. Give up. Thank y'all for coming through, rock with us. Appreciate everybody coming through and chopping it up, man. Fritz, Dre, Coach, Reese, everybody else that came through, man. Thank y'all for hanging out with us, man. We're gonna get out of here. Follow us on X. Make sure y'all hit that follow button. That X crowd is growing exponentially, man. So we're gonna yeah, man.
Vibes and stuff. Vibes and stuff.
I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make them bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who be caught up in using.